me to expound, but let's try and get through it.
Running.
All right, cool.
Okay.
You good?
Mm.
All right. Call halal Yahweh,
Shem Yahushai, Shem Kadash.
and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and truth. And today we're gonna go into the book of Second Esdras. Esdras being Ezra, one of the major prophets in the scriptures, and we're gonna have a look at the narrative which is in these series of chapters, which basically leads into showing that the Lord is only dealing with and concerned with, and the prophets were only dealing with and concerned with the salvation of the nation of Israel, right? And so that's what we're gonna go to, because a lot of times I find that these series of chapters explains a lot when it comes to understanding salvation, even within the nation, how that the majority of the people are going to be destroyed. That's also contained within this book. So we're going to try and get through it, and we're going to try bring in precept upon precept from other, books as well. But we're going to try and get through it. And Lord willing, you're going to be edified as to salvation is only for the nation of Israel, which is what we teach. Yep. So unless you brothers had anything you wanted to kick off with, like a ball.
No, not with.
Is there water over there?
No.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. All right, go on. Let's kick it off.
This is the book of Second Ezra 2 and 7 from the top. Thus said the Lord, I brought these people out of bondage, and I gave them my commandment by my servant the prophets, whom they would not hear, but despise my counsel.
Right, so that's going into what we know, how the Lord brought the Israelites, and only the Israelites, out of Egypt as a people to serve him, because they were the seed of Abraham. They were chosen for that purpose. And then the Lord gave the Israelites a covenant, and part of that covenant was surrounding the law. So if they kept the law, these blessings, Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 to 14, would apply to them. And if they kept not the law, then it would be a curse unto them. Deuteronomy 28, 15 on down to 68. That's the old covenant that you hear about, right? And the law was at the center of it, and the keeping of the law. And that was only with a specific seed, which is the Israelites. It wasn't with mankind. Yeah, if my brother got a scripture on that, we could get it. It wasn't with mankind. It wasn't no universal covenant that a man could just turn up one day and he's a part of it because he feels like it. Like you buy a t-shirt, you visit Jerusalem and you buy a t-shirt and make a donation, and now you're under the covenant. No, this covenant was by blood, according to seed. So you were born into this covenant. It was passed on. All right. And that's linked in with the Abraham, the covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We brothers got anything? We'll get it out fast.
Yeah, no, there was something I can't find it, but it was one that spoke about who had made a covenant by blood, right? I swear it was in the New Testament. It spoke about the previous covenant being made, right? But it was only made because Israel was the only one that had that to make that covenant. Where is it in the scriptures that anyone made a covenant by blood with the Lord?
No,
that's never happened.
The only covenant that the Lord made with all flesh is the covenant in regards to not flooding the earth anymore. That's the only covenant in the scriptures which is universal. I believe that's in like Genesis is that the 9th chapter?
Yeah, not for the earth.
If we could get that's the only covenant in the scriptures the Lord made with all flesh, and that includes, the gorillas and Tom and Jerry and all them. You know what I mean? Say like Tom and Jerry and the ants and all that stuff. Like that covenant was made with all flesh. Have we got that?
Yep. So it says Genesis 9, 8 to 17. And the Most High spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, and I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, of every.
So with you and your seed after you. So that's Noah. So anyone that comes of Noah, which is all people, is under that particular covenant. Yeah, and including all that living creatures that was with them, the dog and the cat, you know what I mean, and all the little creatures there, yeah, the gerbil, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, they can have salvation now. Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Says, every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I'll establish my covenant with you, neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood.
By the waters of a flood. So that if you want to look for a universal covenant in the scriptures that's made university with everyone and everything, then that's the covenant right there, that the Lord would have flood the earth again. Yeah. But in terms of the covenant in regards to a chosen people, yeah, that was with Abraham, and then with Isaac, and then with
Yep.
Jacob, and then the 12 tribes. All
Yep.
right.
Real quick as well, Romans 9:3 and 3 onwards. If I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach, my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises.
So all of that is for the Israelites and the Israelites only. That's confirmed by the Apostle Paul. All right. Did you have something you wanted to? Okay. Yeah, go on, man.
It's a book of Ecclesiasticus 44:19. Abraham was a great father of many people. In the growth was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established he established the covenant in his flesh, and when he was proved, he was found faithful. Therefore, he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed.
He blessed the nations in his seed, and that's not talking about the Israelites. All right, because the Israelites, pursuant to these last days, were going to be scattered among all these nations, man, and be raised up. Well,
And that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the liver unto
see,
the
it said
uttermost
called
part.
them to inherit from sea to sea. That ain't talking about everybody. That's talking about the Israelites, man, in the land, the Holy Land. All right, and you can go refer to Deuteronomy 7:6 all down, and it gives you all of that. Anyway,
From the liver unto the uttermost part of the land, which Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake, the blessing of all men and the
see, they read
covenant.
that where it says blessing of all men, and think that talking about literally all men in the earth. No, the all men is talking about the Israelites, because this book was addressed to Israelites. So the all men, the blessing of all men, all Israelite men. What's understood ain't gotta be explained. The other nations are already been removed from the covenant. They're not part of it. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Can I grab something quickly?
Yeah.
Genesis 21 verse 10. So wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son. So was he blessed? He was blessed on a level, but he didn't receive the blessing. Him and his mother were cast out, right? Because it says, for the son of this woman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And that's what we're reading here. Because even though this is Sarah said this, the Lord said he established it with Isaac, because that's what he promised. Right? It wasn't going to be to all seeds that he had, it was going to be with Isaac.
And then why did Esau cry? Because he couldn't receive the blessing, and he cried bitterly with tears. Yeah, because the covenant went from Abraham to Isaac and then on to Jacob. Esau didn't partake in it, and that's why he's crying like a little girl.
It goes on to say, and he made less upon the head of Jacob.
He rested upon the head of Jacob. That's why the Lord took the children of Jacob and brought them into the promised land. Why was it a promised land for specifically them and not for the entire earth? Because it was promised land to that seed. He told Abraham that his seed was going to be in Egypt for 400 years, then he was going to bring his seed out.
Yes, sir.
So the seed in the Bible is identified.
Yep.
More, we don't need Maury. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also it's like this thing of when the scriptures talk about all the different curses, all the different captivities, right? Those are the captivities that we went through, the curse that we went through.
Yeah, these are the results of breaking the law.
Exactly. So then it's like, how comes we get all of the punishment, but then everyone can partake of the reward?
No, not on the God. So.
He acknowledged him in his blessing and gave him an heritage, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them.
That's why the 12 tribes received what they received. It was because going back to Jacob, and then from Jacob going back to Isaac, and then from Isaac going back to Abraham. And then so even when you go to the new covenant, the reason the new covenant is being established is because of the covenant made with Abraham. That's what you read in the book of Luke.
Because otherwise it wouldn't be a new covenant. It would just be the covenant.
It's a new covenant, man. It's refreshed.
Because Hebrews chapter 8 tells you exactly what that's about.
Yep.
The new covenant to be established with the house of Judah and the house of Israel. Nobody else is included in that.
Why
Because
would they?
we require it. We require it.
Yep.
You know, because we're the ones in trouble, man.
But that's
We
why
need saving.
Paul said in the Galatians that the covenant with Abraham and the covenant through Moses couldn't disannul the covenant with Abraham.
Yep.
That's why a new covenant had to be sought. Because if we never received the blessings as the seed of Abraham, it would break the Lord's word that he went to Abraham. Because when he promised the promises to Abraham and to his seed, there was no law in the stipulations. There was no law in that contract. There was law in the contract when we received it going back to the time of Moses, but we couldn't keep it. So now there's a new covenant that's better, where the law is now going to be put in our inward parts. And that cleans the whole thing up and makes it perfect. All right.
Let me go back to 2 Ezra 2:2. The mother that bare them says unto them, Go your way, ye children, for I am a widow and forsaken.
Right.
This is talking about the land.
Right, the land.
Yeah.
Jerusalem. Now that goes hand in hand again in Galatians. It says Jerusalem, which is free, which is the mother of us all. That proves the Galatians were Israelites.
Yeah. It's not for all.
Because the Jerusalem is not the mother of everyone. Jerusalem is the mother of the Israelites.
It's our homeland.
So that's a cut right there.
I brought you up with gladness, but with sorrows and heaviness have I lost you. For ye have sinned before the Lord your power, and done that thing that is evil before him. But what shall I now do unto you? I am a widow and forsaken. Go your way, O my children, and ask mercy for the Lord of the Lord. As for me, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mothers of these children, which would not keep my covenant, that thou bring them to to confusion, and their mother to a spoil, that there may be no offspring of them. Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen.
And that's what happened. Our people through conquering, through the curses, were scattered abroad among the people. That happened many times to this day. And that's why our people are scattered
Why
right
we're here.
different four corners of the earth.
That's why we're here. That's why we're in America. That's why we're all in the full coast of the earth.
Mhm.
Deuteronomy 28:64, and Jehovah shall scatter thee among all people,
Mm.
from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So is that not what's happened?
Yeah.
You know? And so when you read about these Gentiles now, well, that's exactly what we are.
Carried away onto dumb Gentiles, man.
And the idols.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are dumb.
Yeah, they are
Carried
dumb.
away onto dumb idols, man.
Which we were. Grew up in the church, Islam, whatever, worshiping all kinds of shit.
Every
Yeah.
idol. Because if
Yeah.
Israel is scattered among all nations, that means there's Israelites out there worshiping every idol under the sun, man.
But you get set what, like, what's that Jake, man? That nerd Jake on the TV, Neil deGrasse,
Oh.
basically worshiping science, man. Like Edomite a way of thinking.
You know, and so yeah, we are those Gentiles that need to be reclaimed. You know? And so it's taking the word to go out into the four corners of the earth, 'cause it's what had to happen for us to return. You know?
Mhm.
But we all lost our heritage, man. Yep. No.
Sure. I got a quick one for me. It's a book of Tobit 13 and 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he has scattered us among them.
That's right. We were scattered among them, and that's one of the things that the church is omitting, lying by omission, because the scholars know. The scholars know and they understand that there were Israelites that were outside of the Judean citizenry. They know this. But if you were to ask the average Christian, they wouldn't understand that. In their mindset,
They're all there.
they just think Jews,
Yeah.
and they just think that just represents
Israel.
all of Israel.
Yeah.
They don't understand that there were whole tribes that weren't in the land, and they were Jews who were outside of Judea that were Hellenized. So just because someone wasn't part of the Judean citizenry doesn't mean that they weren't an Israelite.
And this is why the Apocrypha is an important book, right? And because they omit that in the churches. Most churches don't have this.
No.
You know, because that tells you an important part of history that happened to the Israelites during the Greek period. So when you hear these terms, there's no difference between Jew or Greek. This is why.
Yeah.
Because there were things that happened, the history that happened.
Because they think straight away in their mind, that's why they keep saying Jew, Jew,
Because
Jew.
Greek represents everybody, right? Why is it specifically Greek?
And even to this day, they don't call them these showing you they keep the psychosis going, right? These JOOs don't call themselves Israelites. They say Jewish nation. But the most, guess what? I'm gonna tell you something. The Lord ain't coming to save no Jewish nation. The Lord's never been dealing with Jewish anything. When you go back to Moses, show me the Jewish nation. But they'll speak in those terminologies because they want you to focus on Jew, 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 Jew. But the term Jew really goes back to Judah and the kingdom of Judah, which at that time only represented what? Judah, Benjamin, and some of Levi. It didn't represent all the other tribes. When the Lord made a covenant, he didn't make a covenant with the Jews. He made a covenant with the Israelites, which is a whole bunch of tribes. Gad, Reuben. But in the church, the so-called church, they have people ignorant. So when we're telling you, oh no, there's Gentiles that were Israelites, they bugged out. They can't see that because it's been omitted from them. That history's been omitted. That reality has been omitted. So they can't get the mystery of the Gentiles.
And so, like, if I can add, the beauty about this particular stumbling block is it's a stumbling block to those on the outside and those on the so-called inside, because they'll see a Jake that they look different. They may look like they're from here or whatever, and then they're like, no, you're a heathen, and it's like, no, they're still Israelites. They've been scattered.
And there's some Apple that can't even get that.
Yeah.
Because the witchcraft is that big, you know?
Which that's a carnal mentality, because at the end of the day, we don't need to pick and choose who's an Israelite. Guess what? If you're an Israelite and you're of the elect and you hear this word, you're gonna be sealed.
We're not part of the selection process. We don't select who you.
Let's say, yeah, because you can't even select who's of the elect. I can't tell a man, oh, you're gonna be of the elect. I can't tell a man that. Because there's guys that's been in this thing that's fell out. I didn't know he was gonna fall out. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't in our control. That's why we trust the Lord and trust the Spirit, man. But these guys that try and control the Spirit, they're turning this into their thing. And so with their eyes of a man, that's all they can go by. Oh, my man's got an afro and dark skin, so I'm gonna hang my hat on that instead of hanging their hat on this, the scriptures. Does the scriptures vibrate with this man? And if they do, and he receive it, and he have faith, then you can't stand in the way of it. So there's nothing you could do.
Second Ezra 2:7, let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant.
And this is why we lost our identity, man.
Yeah.
Our name was put out. We didn't know who the fuck we were. Esau been beating us so bad, like we just take what he says.
Yeah.
You know? And I was gonna do a video maybe next week, Lord willing, man. You know, the importance of having the name, having the identity, right? If it wasn't important, then why did Esau go around changing the names of all the lands? Why did he beat our names out of us? Because it goes back to our roots, man. To who we are.
It's part of structure.
And you take away the Lord's name, that's all important, man. That's why it's important to have those things for us.
It's like bones. What happens if you lose the bones in your body? You're gonna be all floppy, right? And you can't move.
It's a state of confusion.
Yeah.
Not knowing who you are, it's a state of confusion,
Or
man.
falsely knowing who you are. And then you're going down the wrong road.
Yeah, you get a whole load of nations all over the world where you, from their last name, you immediately, oh, so you're from this tribe. From their last name, you're able to work out so much about them, their family lineage and history and stuff like that.
But now you take on your master's surname.
With
'Cause
Jake,
most-
you ain't
most
gonna know.
surnames is that.
Half of these Jakes as well don't even have their dad's surname anyway. They got their mom's surname.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Total confusion.
It's all confusion. But we're gonna get all that back. What matters now, that's why the scriptures speak about the endless genealogy. What matters now is the spirit. The Lord know he got the spiritual Google and he gonna search and sift out those that are his through sanctification of the spirit and belief in the word, which is why we're here. Oh, let's get through this.
Woe be unto thee, Ashur. Thou hast hidest
Ashur is the Assyrians.
thou that hidest the unrighteous in thee. O thou wicked people, remember what I did unto Sodom and Gomorrah, whose land lies in clods of pitch and heaps of ashes. Even so also will I do unto them that hear me not, say they have mighty power.
And this is why the wicked right people in America, they're gonna get smelted. And that when America gets into that fire, man. You know?
Thus said the Lord unto Esdras, tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I could have given unto Israel. Their glory also will I take unto me, and give this the everlasting tabernacle which I had prepared for them.
Mm.
They shall have the tree of life for an ointment of sweet savour. They shall neither labor nor be weary. Go, and ye shall receive. Pray for few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you.
So what was Yahweh Shai talking about? Yahweh Shai was talking about that kingdom. It was already written that there's a kingdom prepared for the Israelites. That's not in dispute.
Can't be changed.
That's why Israelites always had hope as long as you had these scriptures. Now, if you ain't got these scriptures, you ain't gonna have hope. You're gonna be without hope because you don't know nothing about these scriptures. But really, if you read the scriptures, man, the game is rigged in our favor. Our destiny is a good one. Even the wicked 2/3 of our people are destined for greatness. They're destined to be a part of that kingdom simply by being of that seed. So really, when you break it down, we're the most privileged people that there's ever been.
Yep.
People talk about so-called white privilege. Let him have that. His privilege is temporary.
Comparison.
Our privilege is on a different level because we didn't do nothing to earn this destiny that we're going to receive. Even though we have works that we're doing, what works can you do to earn an everlasting kingdom? You know, this thing was promised to us from before the foundations, man.
It's of his goodwill.
Yeah.
Alongside goodwill.
It's the Lord.
That's what it was.
He just said, yo, Jacob gonna be a winner. And that's how it's gonna be. Now it's all a matter of us just fulfilling what is written to get to that point. But Yahweh Shai was speaking all the same stuff.
Yep.
But now they want to twist and turn it to make it look like he's talking about everyone. No, the kingdom was always about Israel and Israel's rulership over the earth, man, and over the heathen.
Lord said, I change not, man. So the purpose of the king isn't going to change. It ain't going to become everybody's kingdom. It was prepared for the Israelites.
And that don't make no sense anyway.
And to expound, because it says, I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not conceived.
Because he's got a purpose for you, man. He's got a promise and a blessing to bless you with, man.
Well, didn't the scripture say in sorry, I got that wrong. In Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, where it speaks about the Lord, I make a full end of all the other nations. I will not make a full end of you, but punish you with measure. What does it mean by that? Because the other nations, they're gonna rise, they're gonna have their time in the sun, they're gonna get their little jiggle. They're gonna get their little something. All them, not all, but a lot of them nations, they had their time. Cush had his time, where he was on top of the world, man. Yeah, had them rims spinning. He had his time. Because it's a great thing when you're listen, when you're at the top, it's good. It's great. When you're the boss, it comes with responsibility, but the perks are excellent. When you're the top dog, when you're the top don. Yeah, they had their time. The Persians, they had their time. To be at the top, to get the maximum respect, to get the top gal, everything that's coming your way. The cream of the crops and all that comes with that prestige. Yeah, who else had their time? Egypt, the Egyptians had their time. They had their rims spinning, the chain spinning, all that.
Well, they were dominion over us. The Moabites.
They had their time. But the Lord said He gonna make a full end of them, meaning you gonna go back down where you belong. But with us, even though He made us down, it's not a full end. We're gonna go back up to where we're supposed to be in righteousness, which is rulers and royalty as the sons of God over the other nations, man.
Because once we're in the kingdom, these nations are going to never rise to that prominence again.
Nah.
So their rulership time, the rulership is ended. That's what it means. They made a full end.
Full end. And Esau's going to be a full end. He ain't going to get that preeminence again, that superiority that he's got. This is the last of it. That's why we keep telling you, man, what are you doing, man? Sell up, go live it up. What they say? Sell up and live up. That's what you need to do, man. Brother was showing me what you could get for 3 million in Brazil. I'm like, what these dudes doing in London, man?
No, for real, for real. In your own kingdom, just being a two-time loser. Like, what's
Bro.
going on?
Trying hard to listen,
Complaining
bro.
about immigrants.
You
man.
got them assets.
Be
man.
the immigrant. Be the immigrant.
Yeah, bro. Make them assets work for you, man. The earth is yours. Go,
So
man.
can I get this precept quick?
Yeah, yeah.
It's Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11 says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh." It's been addressed to Israelites. You know, the Israelites in Ephesus, right? Who are called uncircumcision. You read the history, you start understanding all these things, right?
Well, the scripture says, if you want precedent for that, there's a scripture where it talks about the whole house of Judah being uncircumcised. So that means, and then it said the Lord cursed out Moab for saying, "Oh, Judah is like us, become like the heathen." So there's precedent for Israelites being called uncircumcised, like onto the heathen, and that actually happened. Like the brother saying,
There's a physical and a spiritual element to that.
But it's like Jake, act like we don't do that even in our own carnal realms. Like if you're say from a certain country and then you go back, they're gonna be like, "What's this guy
yeah,
doing?"
the man got them foreign ways.
Yeah. It's
Man
strange.
Man can't
Strange
eat
ways,
all the food down there. Man's looking at the food funny, like next man are just munching it. You're like, yo, you got that fried chicken, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There KFC here. Man don't want to eat that.
Yeah, real Caribbean.
yeah, you ain't got man don't want to drink the
Have
Guinness.
super malt.
Don't want the Guinness. man.
Guinness. Guinness thing.
Hey, go on.
Oh,
Remind me later, I gotta tell you something.
Alright,
I got
alright.
beef then.
Okay. So who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, right? So you got the Jews in Jerusalem at the time were looking down on the other Israelites because they're being heathens, basically. While they were keeping the customs, loosely, right? But now in Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, who ye sometimes were far off, are made nigh by the blood. Sorry, I missed the verse. Sorry. Verse 12. That at the time you were without Yahweh Shai, being aliens from the Commonwealth of Israel
Yeah.
and strangers.
Aliens from the Commonwealth of Israel, meaning outcasts. Outcasts. Right? Them Israelites that left off and Hellenized themselves, they became aliens, foreign. Yeah? They weren't part of this thing no more. They were out there. They were part of that, the Hellenistic world, the Zeus and them, man, Hades and all them dons there.
Again, same thing's playing that today. You got people that refuse or reject being Israelites. They don't want to believe. It's fine. The Lord's not looking for everybody anyway. Right? So that at that time you were without Yahweh Shai, being aliens from the Commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants. You didn't know nothing about the blessings and the promises made to our nation.
Yeah, they didn't know.
Right?
We were strangers from the covenants until you find out that you're an Israelite. You didn't know that you were party to the Abrahamic covenant, man. You didn't know about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob like that. You didn't know that your name is written in that covenant.
And again, that's something that's important to be kept away from us.
Yeah.
So make sure it's away from us, man.
Because now now you start looking at things different. It's like, yo, listen, bro, I'm supposed to own this rascal. By divine unction, man, that divine right.
God wills it. Yeah.
God wills it. That's right. Give me that.
You take this.
Now, you gotta be like, man, they didn't want us to be like Screwface. The world out there belongs to you, no. Hey, Screwface is a legend, man.
Because it is a promise, right? Having no hope, without God in the world.
Right, you ain't got no hope unless you got these scriptures. What hope do you have? Now you read the scriptures and you find out you're an Israelite and you read the scriptures. Now you have hope. The hope comes with knowledge. Without that knowledge and you're ignorant, you ain't gonna have no hope.
And then you're just taken by the whims of anything that Esau feeds you.
Yeah, start hoping. And now you're hoping in the American dream.
False hope.
Which you see how they're playing all kind of games. Tariffs on, wax off like Mr. Miyagi, causing bare chaos, man. Meanwhile, everything's getting worse. It's crazy. And this is what people were hoping in. This kingdom ain't got no hope for no one, man. If you're growing up now, there is less hope than there's ever been. If you believe in the world. Yeah? You can't even be dumb no more. You can't even be smart because they're gonna take them smart jobs too. And it's not like you have an inheritance. Look, most people don't have inheritances in this world.
And ain't got savings.
You're a fucking human resource. That's why you go to school, enable to get a job. Oh man, I want to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, you're starting that from scratch too.
That's why you're in slavery.
That's why you gotta get a loan. Like
Mm.
you ain't know how it's supposed to be, where you got a dad and
Oh.
he got land and they got
Yeah.
businesses, everything running nicely.
Mm.
So you just basically become an inheritor of that and you build on that. No, you're hoping that you can get a degree so you can get a job to live off that particular income from the job. So you're basically gonna go out there in the world and say, yo, pay me to work for you. That's your life. That's
Please,
your
man,
life
sir.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a job.
I'm not gonna. That's how I grew up. I grew up the same way. We're trying to get a salary out here. We ain't got no big estate where we can start running our own thing. You're relying on being a human resource, because that's all we are in this kingdom.
And that's why the borrower is servant to the lender.
Yeah.
And you got to borrow to do it. Even to
Yeah.
learn to be a slave, you got to be
Yeah.
borrowed.
Whatever you do, you're in debt to, right? The school system, you don't pay for that. They pay for that. You owe them. That's why you owe them your productivity.
Yeah.
To go out into the world and go in these jobs, man, that they teach you
Crazy.
to go do or whatever. They own you.
Even the entrepreneur thing. So you get a lot of people that will set up a business and then they'll get funding, either angels, they call it angel investment, or VC, so venture capital. But what happens a lot of the time is they're taking more and more of your company,
Yeah.
more and more of your company, to the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
where you may sell it. So I was gonna say,
No,
like,
no, yeah, go on.
I think it was Paddy Power was an example of this. It got sold for, I think, like, it was one of them companies, betting companies, got sold for like under a certain threshold, which basically legally meant that the owners got nothing. So it is, you built up this massive empire, but because of the way they've done the contract, they set the price because they worked out what was probably cheaper for us long term to sell it at this price and give you nothing, than sell it at the higher price and give you something. You see it there.
Yeah, the entrepreneur thing. Obviously, you go on YouTube and everyone's trying to sell you it like you're gonna become rich. The reality of it is, yeah, that game for you is very risky, but for someone who has the proper family and the proper resources in the background, they will always outcompete you in that realm, because you're not supposed to be no entrepreneur starting off with nothing. Even the Lord, when we took us out of Egypt, what did we leave Egypt with? Gold and silver. Man went
Cattle.
borrowing.
Cattle, servants.
You understand what I'm saying? Like when you're like one of these dons and your daddy's a millionaire, you can afford to start a business and fail. In fact, your business can be failing for multiple years that it
Yeah.
takes, because most businesses
Lost, mate.
take a while to start. They lost. Where you now, you're on the edge with it, man. You got to take another loan and you're under stress. My man's got the money there in the bank already, and if he has taken out a loan, that man can just brush that off easy. So they're under less stress and their company can grow. And then they can even then come and buy your company when you got cash flow issues. Because your problem with your company is just cash flow. It's actually a good company. That's why you got Dragons Den and all these different things. Man, to hell with this place, man. We just need this contract right here.
This is our hope, yeah.
This American dream thing's falling apart, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going because
Yeah.
we ain't got limited time.
Yeah, just one more verse here. It says, but now,
Is it? Okay. Okay, let me talk to you.
but verse 13 says, but now in Yahushai, Mashiach, who ye sometimes were far, are made nigh by the blood of Yahushai, right? Because this is the new covenant being established, right? So we're like, because we'll go back to Hebrews 8 and 10, right? It speaks about the new covenant being made with Israel and Judah, right? The new blood, the new sacrifice Yahushai made was to cover that new covenant with us. You know, again, that wasn't made with other people, right? Because it was all for the intent for Israel to return, right? That's why we're being called.
These other nations that had Esau, like especially Esau, man, asking about Esau. Esau's had his kingdom, man. These men have had their time. They've had their time to be at top. They've been at top for a long time. Wheels spinning. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been living good. Like, and you telling me that they gon' no.
Well, it says the kingdom shall be left to other people.
Shall not be left to other people. The Lord raises up people as nations to rule. It's not gonna be no generic thing of we are the world and everyone mixed together.
Everyone's gonna rule.
That's not in the Bible. The Lord don't deal with that. The Lord deals with separation of nations, man. He separated nations according to seed line, and he gave every nation their destiny. Esau has a destiny. His destiny is blackness, man.
Yeah. I've got another precept.
Yeah, go on, man.
Isaiah 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Because we're the everlasting kingdom. We're the world without end.
It'll be all
right? Again, it's something promised to us, right? So we're not going to be ashamed in waiting for it, and to believe it, right? For thus saith the Lord Yahweh that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He have established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, there is none else. I have not spoken in secret.
Yeah, the Lord created the earth to be inhabited, so the earth is not going to get to a condition where it's just dilapidated and broke down. Esau scaremongering about the stars exploding and all this stuff, man. To hell with Esau. Listen, man. Esau just needs to get backhanded, man. None of that's going to happen. The earth has been created for us to live here. And as bad as things get, it's not going to be the end. Everything's going to get fixed up and the earth is going to be done. And it tells you that in Ezekiel the 36, beginning with Israel, it's going to be better than what it was from the beginning.
You don't want anything else. I'm just going to support it. Anything else, unfortunately.
So I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob. Right? Because that's who he's been talking to, really.
Yeah.
He's only been talking to Israel.
Yeah.
Not,
Not humanity, not mankind. All this BS they're trying to push in now.
well, only you have I known the families of the earth.
Mm.
Right? That's what the Lord said. See, I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain, right? Because it's profitable for us to seek the Lord. That's what he wants.
The Lord not a sadist, man. You know, the doing the will of the Lord comes with perks and benefits, man, beyond beyond
What
the
imagination.
imagination, man. The
He,
Lord-
but he never closed the door on us, man. Because you got those that believe Israel's been done away with.
Paul said that, yeah.
Paul rebuked it.
God forbid.
He rebuked that.
No.
But he never closed the door on Israel. He's basically waiting for us to turn and repent. That's what he's been waiting for. Right?
And he's the one making us do it.
Yeah.
It's because it's all in his time. It's the Lord's story. It's a very specific narrative, and it was all predictable because the Lord laid it out here, like as we're gonna read. If we're hearing talking about a kingdom is prepared, what is then that means it's inevitable.
Done already. It's there.
It's done.
waiting.
It's just we had to go through fill in the
Well, the Lord don't make that in vain, you know.
No.
It's not that he's got a kingdom and no one's going to have it because we fucked up.
no.
It's not in vain. Come on, man.
Well, the scripture tells you it's the Lord that hardened our hearts.
That's right.
So it's all to fulfill his purpose anyway.
So I, the Lord, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations.
Mm.
Right? Because we're being drawn from these other from the nations, right? As we've been saying. They have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image, right? Because right now our people worshiping idols, right?
Mm.
And pray unto a God that cannot save. These religions can't help you, man. Right? So tell ye and bring them near, yea, let them take counsel together, who have declared this from ancient time. You want to read it from ancient times, it says. Right?
That's why it says, will thou again restore again the kingdom to Israel? When they asked the Lord that, it wasn't from a point of ignorance.
It wasn't an uneducated
That-
Christian.
That's literally the narrative of the Bible. They was like, you
Now?
gonna get it now? Because that's what it's all. It didn't say, will thou then restore again mankind? They're like, no, that's not in the scriptures nowhere. There's nowhere you're gonna read. It's insane. If you actually read the Bible as a narrative and follow the narrative of the Bible, there's no way you can come to the conclusion that the Most High is dealing with mankind. No, he's dealing with Israel, his chosen people. And the Lord has made that very clear. He said to Israel, look, man, I dust up nations and kings for your sake. When did he do that for them man's sake? No, the Lord's not dealing with them other nations like that.
Even your rulership that you have now is not for your sake.
The Lord's not dealing with them.
It's for our own
Bro,
correction.
even when he raised up the Babylonians in the same chapter that he's saying he's going to use the Babylonians to do this, that, and the other, he's saying, yo, but I'm going to turn around and bust their heads too because I ain't dealing with them. They're just a means to an end.
Yep.
Just like Esau, Edom. Edom didn't come into his position because the Lord's dealing with him on the level that he's now the chosen people and you got a chance to make it, do it right, and all. Nah, the Lord put him in that position as a punishment to his people.
It's up for grabs now, isn't it?
Yeah, ain't up for grabs. You put in the position you're in as a punishment to his people, but it is a temporary. You already was on a ticking clock as to when you were gonna get your head bust.
Yep.
And it surely shall be bust, and the busting shall be great. Yeah, simple as that, man.
So who have declared this from ancient time? Who have told it from that time? Have not I, the Lord Yahweh?
All the prophecies, all the prophets spoke about these things. They all spoke about the salvation of Israel in the end. Moses spoke about it, man.
So he laid the whole thing out.
He laid it out, man.
The journey that you're going to take, us Israelites were going to take.
So what are we doing here? Like, where is this? We are the world. We are the future. All these nations in this narrative come from. Where is even the narrative about dying and going to heaven come from? It's insanity. Do you realize that this how burning in hell? Yeah, if it was true that if you sin and you burn it, you're gonna go and burn in hell. Do you understand how crazy is what you're saying? You're saying that okay, everybody that died in the flood, they're all burning in hell to this day.
Literally everybody's there.
Everyone's
Pretty
there.
much everyone's there.
Outside of Abraham, they were all going off.
The few righteous
So they're
there.
all in hell. Like you're just talking about a whole flipping just hell,
Generations of- yeah.
burning. And then when the Lord chose his people, this is how you know it's insanity. When the Lord chose his people and Moses brought them, Moses never once mentioned, by the way, if you break these laws, you're gonna burn in hell forever. Because believe you me, that's flipping need to know information. That like I need that shouldn't be in the fine print.
In the first day, he created the heavens and the earth and hell.
Bro,
You know,
this whole idea, this Christian idea that you're waiting to go to heaven or waiting to go to hell, it does not make sense because nowhere in the scriptures has that ever been a thing of dying. No, the reward and the punishment for good or evil has always been something that's played out on the earth. And I dare you to prove me wrong. Go into Moses and show me where Moses said to the Israel, you're going to be punished in some after you die in some random place, or you're going to be punished in no, no, the blessing is on earth. The blessings were always tied to having children, yamming up good food, beer gal. Yeah, these are all the good things. And then the curses was always, oh, you're gonna get tortured, you're gonna get killed. Where did that happen? Here. It's always the same. Oh, that nation did something wrong. I'm gonna punish them. The punishment was never somewhere where they were gonna go. The punishment was something that was gonna happen to them here.
Yeah.
When the Lord punished Amalek, how did he punish Amalek? Why did he send Saul to kill them when they were gonna die and go to hell anyway? This is like, what was the point? No, the punishment was them man running around through the village screaming in terror. The punishment is always something that you play out on earth. So when you read the scriptures, the narrative is there. But Esau wants you to hope in dying and going to heaven, or be careful of dying and going to hell, which is not Jeremiah,
Right.
Isaiah, none of them.
Like there's nothing to play for here. Because this is his kingdom, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing to play for here because he's got what he wants.
No, the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth and it's going to be lived on earth. We went through hell on earth and we're going to go through heaven on earth.
Because Esau at the minute is in his heaven. He don't want to relinquish that. He don't want you to believe there's something to play for here. He just wants you to die peacefully. Like don't rock the boat. I'll just stay in power. Don't rock the boat. Be a good guy. Be a pacifist and die, go to heaven.
And they'll, oh
You
no,
know.
but the scripture says the earth swallowed them up down into hell. You morons. They went alive into hell. Bro, that's talking about hell is the ground. They got swallowed up by the ground. Like I said, if hell was a real thing, Moses would have mentioned it. More than once. Because you know how the Lord likes to repeat himself. More than once they would have been
You
mentioned.
start with the scariest thing, man.
First, up front, just like the church do.
Yeah.
Here it is, the church put that, plaster that all over the damn stained glass windows, but Moses never mentioned it, no? He hid it. Oh, yeah, man, go with that. Anyway, let's keep it going.
Yeah, I was done with that.
Yeah, go on.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh,
That was
and you
the-
read something about far off, innit, before?
That was in the
Oh,
previous scripture.
Yeah, I was going to catch this off the back of that.
Okay.
Because it's a John 11 and 51. It says, and this spake he not of himself, but being a high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahweh Shai should die for that nation. That nation being Judea. Yeah? Oh, yeah. And not for that nation only, but that he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. That ain't talking about the mankind. That's talking about the Israelites that were scattered abroad. Yeah, the diaspora. Where will he go that we will not find him? Will he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Who's the dispersed among the Gentiles? The Israelites. The book of Peter was written to the strangers scattered in Cappadocia and all them places there, Galatia. The diaspora, man.
There's so much spaces that back that up. You know?
Yeah, but then Vocab Malone and that, they don't hear it. That's why we're not really trying to convince Vocab, because Vocab won't be convinced.
Well, there's a scripture for him. He's like the deaf adder. That's
Yeah.
something for here, bro.
You
That's
know,
what he is.
we've broken it down already and they still come back with the same dry thing.
You know, but just had a couple more verses back when Isaiah 45 here. Verse 20. So assemble yourselves and come near, draw near. Together ye that escaped of the nations that have no knowledge that set up one of the graven image and pray unto God that cannot save. Tell ye and bring them near. Let them take counsel together. Who have declared this from ancient time? Okay, I read that. who have declared it from ancient time, who have told it from that time, have not I the Lord, and there is no God else beside me, a just God and a Savior, there is none else beside me. Look unto me and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. But who's it speaking like?
The
It's like
Israelites,
in all the
yeah.
ends of the earth, right?
That's why the gospel has to go to the ends of the. When they hear the ends of the earth scriptures, they don't understand why it says that, because Israel is scattered to the ends of the earth, which we already read. My salvation shall be to the ends of the earth. That doesn't mean it's extended to all
everybody, yeah.
mankind. It's because
Everybody.
Israel is scattered, man.
And it says,
And the scholars know this. They just choose to omit this from the understanding because they have a narrative that they have to push. Because Christianity has to be all inclusive because it's a control mechanism for all. Whereas this gospel is not supposed to be a control mechanism for the people. It's supposed to be for the edification of the elect. But they don't want it to be the edification of the elect. They want it to be, listen, we need to get all these people together to do what we tell them to do.
Yeah.
So they had to twist it up and change it up
use it for weapons.
and start teaching rhetoric rather than what's actually in the scriptures. And that's what you find, that most of the doctrine of Christians, they might mention one scripture and the rest of it's just rhetoric based upon that.
Yeah.
Whereas when they hear us preaching, we're going precept
Precept on
upon
precept.
precept everywhere. Jeremiah's backing it up, Isaiah, everything. Even if you Google in salvation for all nations, the most they can come up with scriptures, and when you go through them 10 scriptures, the really only ones that
The
they can
references to
stretch
Israel.
is the one that says light Gentiles. That's literally, there's about 2 scriptures they stretch. They stretch the light unto the Gentile scripture and the salvation. You know, in the Abraham where it speaks about
All
salvation.
nations shall be blessed.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the only 2 scriptures that you can kind of say, well, there's validity
could
that you could
interpret it that way.
you could
Yeah.
stretch that.
Yeah.
The other 8 scriptures in the list ain't even got. It's like, bro,
them.
if you read the chapter, it's clearly talking about Israel. They ain't really got no exhaustive foot to stand on. Whereas we got like scriptures for days,
Old passages.
and that's how you know it's consistent with the narrative that's actually in the Bible, and not just rhetoric that we're just repeating.
And verse 25 just caps it off, right? It says, "In the Lord shall all the seed, so in the Lord shall all the seed of Israel be justified and shall glory."
Yep.
Because it's for us to glory, right? It's
And the Lord shall all the seed of Israel be justified. Justified by what? By faith. That's why even when you go into the book of Habakkuk, I tell people all the time, you want to understand the book of Habakkuk, the 1st chapter, the 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter, that was all talking about Israel and Israel being in captivity. The 1st chapter is addressing Israel. The 2nd chapter is addressing Israel's captors. And the 3rd chapter is addressing the salvation of Israel. So when it says the just shall live by faith, it was talking about Israelites. The other part where it says the wicked, you know, it says the spirit in them is not upright. That's talking about the captors of Israel. You just go read the chapters. That's what he's talking about. So when Paul's quoting the just shall live by faith, what was the actual book in Habakkuk? Who was the just it was talking about? The Israelites. Then we went on precept. Oh, in me shall the seed of Israel be justified. What? Through faith.
Ironic. It's almost as if they should read with the context.
Context. Go on.
Second Ezra 2, finish up.
Right. Okay, let's keep going.
13, you say,
If he was in the church now, you can just go straight.
the kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch, take heaven and earth to witness. For I have broken the evil in pieces and created the good. For I live, says the Lord. Mother, embrace thy children and bring them up with gladness. Make their feet as fast as a pillar. For I have chosen thee, says the Lord.
And that's Jerusalem. Jerusalem's still the chosen. Right? So in the end, that's why when you go to Revelation, what does it say? Holy Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. That's right at the end. Why is it Holy Jerusalem coming down out of heaven?
That's why it's so proud now each tribe.
So the Lord's still gonna bless Jerusalem, and that's in right at the end of the book. And it just detailing the kingdom and what it's gonna be like. Nothing to do with mankind.
Because the idea that the tribes don't matter, the nation of Israel don't matter no more, is ridiculous. Because why would it still be mentioned? Why is it still mentioned all the way in the book of Revelation?
It don't matter until these men want to blow up some Palestinians. And that's what I'm saying. These people are insane. Vocab Malone believes in replacement theology, so he should be against Zionism. But this is the cognitive dissonance. He he's for replacement theology when he's coming against us. Then when he gets one of these Zionist JOOs on his show, he don't tell them actually, well, you ain't got that no right to that land over there, because according to replacement theology, that land now belongs to the church.
Yeah.
That's what if he actually stood on principle, that's what he would say. He would say, listen, but you know why he ain't gonna say that? Because guess what, man? That's how the devil operates. The devil will pick and choose what applies and when they want it to apply. And that's how they always have been. They pick and choose to however they feel. So when it's us, yeah, replacement theology. Don't matter if you're an Israelite. Then he'll get a JOO. Oh yeah, well, Israel's they're the chosen people. And
That means well, that means you're going by your own agenda, basically.
yeah, they're just pushing an
You know what I mean?
agenda. They ain't got no. I told you already. They ain't got no principles.
You know what it reminds me of, Zaquan? It reminds me of how like Alex Jones would always talk about the deep state, but he'd never mention those people because guess what? He worked for them people. Almost as if vocab is working from some individuals where he can't say certain.
Yeah. Well, as soon as the October 7th happened,
Exactly.
he had 4 live streams within the space of like 3-4 days. Well, maybe in the space of a week, yeah. And it was all Zionists coming on there and the history of Hamas and painting the Palestinians as the arch enemies of righteousness and the JOOs. They whatever they're doing is justice. 54,000 people dead individuals later. Vocab has never done no video to say, oh, actually, you know what, man, it's a bit mad still. 54,000, 70% of that women and children. No, he hasn't even mentioned it.
Because that's
And Christians too.
Yeah.
Christians are getting clapped.
Because that's the thing as well about that particular landmass is it's mostly women and children. Mostly children.
Yeah.
More
So where's vocab at? Because this is being done, and then I did a video the other day that the guy said he called them Amalek and said we're in the process of obliterating the seed of Amalek.
Yeah.
So where's vocab at? Because here it is. He's happy to paint us as a threat because we tell you that Esau's going to be eradicated and destroyed according to the scriptures, and the nations are going to go into slavery. And that's enough for him to cast us down as the most evil people. Meanwhile, you've got another people who claim to be Israelites who are actually got nuclear weapons and are spending ridiculous amounts of money on bombs. Like, we can't even buy one bomb between each other. These dudes have got bare bombs. They're getting funded by the United States government, and they're actually in the process of erasing people. And Vocab Malone ain't speaking on it whatsoever. Well, how come those Israelites get to go around and obliterate people? But if we just talk about it in the scriptures, we're the bad guys and we're the threat.
In a prophetic sense.
And these men have got your government, the APAC and all that. They're more. Where are we? You know what I mean? Buying off politicians and all this, man.
These men are not even waiting for prophecy to be fulfilled, man. They're taking shit into their own hands.
Bro, it's bullshit. But that just shows you that Vocab Malone, like every Edomite, does not have morals, does not have principles that he actually stands on. Because if the reason he's coming up against us, is a principle that he holds to his heart, then the people who represent what he's against the most is them JOOs, meaning he should be attacking them heavy. But he attacks Muslims and Hebrew Israelites because
complexion.
Hey, what's that Peter Griffin meme? He's got the shades and stuff like that. As soon as it's brown, they call him something else.
they got the complexion for the protection. So he's just the white supremacist at the end of the day. So it don't matter what we'd be saying, as long as he can't be a part of it, he'd have a problem. Go on,
I'll grab this real quick. So this is from the robot ChatGPT. It says age distribution. This is of Gaza pre October 17. Under 18 years, approximately 47% of the population.
So when they're bombing up the place of bare youths, they're killing here. But the Hebrew Israelites, where
You know what they say though? That they were war age.
but he don't even address it. He's not. I'm telling you, he hasn't. In the last year, he has completely ignored all of what's happened over there, all the dead babies. But then, as soon as a Hebrew Israelite fart in the elevator somewhere, he's ready to do a live stream and this is what's happening. A couple people say they're leaving. What about the people that's leaving the IDF? Why don't you go get one of them on your show? You're talking about people leaving the IUIC. It's a cult. What about the IDF? That's a cult. Why don't you go interview one of them IDF soldiers so they could tell you about the babies that they be killing? Because they exist. There's men that have left the IDF because
men that they've been raping.
Yeah, Oh man.
Oh, man.
That's I mean, that's how fruity man are, bro. Like, your
Oh,
man going off.
And then they
mad.
defended it on TV. Like, yeah, you should be able to do that.
Yeah, and then
What?
they keep wearing the women's lingerie after
Yeah.
they raid the houses and
It's,
stuff.
it's
That's
weird
free,
shit.
that's
Yeah.
Esau. That sounds like Esau to me.
And then
Free.
just this last bit, I'll read through it real quick. So I'll compare that against the UK and the US. So 0 to 14 years old in Gaza, this is around 40%, compared in the UK and US to around 17%. 15 to 24, 20%, and that's compared to around 11% in the UK and 13% in the US. The median age, jumping straight to the point, in Gaza Strip was 18 years old.
These men are dying, man.
Yeah, man, yeah, but
They're getting bombed up.
but Cap, I thought what happened to the love? Love thy neighbor. You know all the scriptures. Vengeance is mine.
Arsenal
Say,
football team, bro.
notice he never said that. When we talk about, oh, we're gonna put these other nations in slavery. Oh, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Bro, that nigga only talked about it. I'm not actually doing anything. These man, boom, 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 boom. Put it on camera, boom.
Genocide,
Baby's
man.
face, lick off. He never mentioned vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He never confronted none of them Zionists and said, but the Bible says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So maybe you shouldn't be bombing them. It doesn't matter what they did on October 7th. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, right? Oh no, like I said, when it's Edomites, they can take vengeance however they want. Nuclear weapons, it
But I
don't
say,
matter.
we say, oh, you man got paid for slavery. You're like, no, we ain't got to do that.
Yeah, but them man have to pay for October 7th.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Hey, devil. We told you these. Come on. Don't,
Edomite,
anyway, let's keep it going, man. These Edomites are just devils, man, and they're gonna come at you with it on this moral high horse. They come riding into town, and they're so above you. You guys are just violent and hateful. Ain't nobody more violent and hateful than Esau, man. Man had 2 world wars. Like case closed. Let's go. Between cousins, by the way.
Second Ezra 2 and 15. Mother, embrace thy children and bring them up with gladness. Make their feet as fast as a pillar. For I have chosen thee, said the Lord. And those that be dead will I raise up again from their presence and bring them out of the graves. For I have known my name in Israel.
No, my name is Israel. So the Lord's dealing with the Israelites, man. Like point blank, period. Let's keep it going.
Fear not, thou mother of the children, for I have chosen thee, says the Lord. For thy help will I send my servant Isaiah, and Jeremy, after whose counsel I have sanctified and prepared for thee 12 trees laden with diverse fruits.
Don't you talk about that in Revelation? Keep it going.
And as many. And
a lot of Isaiah and Jeremiah prophecies go hand in hand with Revelations. A lot of what Isaiah and Jeremiah was prophesying is directly in the visions of John. Not saying that John got it from them, but obviously they both got it from the same source. It's like when you read about the garments in red, like dyed bomb, that's also in Revelations. Like so much of what you find prophesied about in Revelations, you will find it also prophesied about in Isaiah and in Jeremiah.
Well, scripture even speaks about it. Might have been he's talking to Esdras maybe, right? But he's talking about certain prophecies he gave, like men that came before him, but he expanded it to him. Prophecies were expounded, but they were talking about the same thing.
Oh, when he was talking to Moses and he said there's certain things of Moses is supposed to write down and something. Oh no, that's it. Well, maybe.
Yeah, right. There's something that expounded in different detail to prophets that came afterwards, but it's talking about the same time that was in the future.
It's not like the destruction of Babylon.
Yeah.
Isaiah speaks about it, Jeremiah speaks about it, and John the Revelator saw it too.
Like even the beast in Daniel, the beast in Daniel relate to what's in Revelation, but it's described in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
And there's many fountains flowing with milk and honey, and 7 mighty mountains, whereupon there grow lotus and lilies, whereby I will fill the children with joy.
Right, so this is all talking about the kingdom of heaven. And it's the same thing you could, like I said, you can go and read in Revelation 21st chapter into 22, and it's the same thing that is talking about here. That Jerusalem, the holy Jerusalem, being rejuvenated and all of the good stuff that we look forward to. Let's keep it going.
Do light to the widow, judge for the fatherless, give to the poor, defend the orphan, clothe the naked, heal the broken and the weak. Laugh not a lame man to scorn, defend the maimed, and let the blind man come into the sight of my clearness. Keep the old and young within thy walls. Wheresoever thou findest the dead, take them and bury them, and I will give thee the first place in my resurrection. Abide still, O my people, and take thy rest, for thy quietness shall come.
And again, that goes hand in hand with the quiet. They shall be quiet, and none shall make them afraid. That's in it's Jeremiah, isn't it? Jeremiah 30th chapter. All right. Overlapping prophecies. Go on.
Nourish thy children, O thou good nurse. Establish their feet. As for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Be not well, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance.
So it's saying that when the time of trouble comes, because that goes in hand with Daniel's 12th chapter, right? When the time of trouble comes, you, Jerusalem, the elect of Jerusalem, the chosen, the ones to be saved, you're going to be blessed, but everyone else is going to be catching hell. Who does everyone else? Bosra, all these other nations, man. They're going to be catching hell, but Israel ain't going to be catching hell.
And Ezra 2:28, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee.
Is it the heathen shall envy thee?
Why would they be envying Israel?
I thought they were getting it too.
But yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that, yeah, the Lord is dealing with everyone. So why would the heathen be envious? Yeah, because these heathen that it's talking about here is the actual heathen, the other nations. They're going to be envious because we're going to be being uplifted and blessed and saved in these last days and established in the everlasting kingdom, and they're going to be put down.
And that is exactly the spirit that Esau is in. That's why he hates us so bad. Because he's envious and jealous of the blessing that we receive. That he's trying to keep it away from us. Right? But all you nations, because you've been sold to believe that you've got a portion of this. So yeah, you're going to be envious and jealous, man. Because you've been made to believe that that's yours too. It's not. It never was yours. So of course you've been looking on us shining and glowing and shit. You know what I'm saying? And be full of envy. Just like Jake today, they look up all the other nations, what everyone else has got, because I feel envious why they're doing this fucking bullshit.
But that's why the Lord told us, envy not the oppressor, man, and choose none of his ways. Yeah. Because Esau's got what he's got, but he's gonna shortly lose it. Yeah. But if you try to copy Esau's game, and that's our people. They fall into the way of wickedness and witchcraft. That's how you make it in this, man. Yep. That's the one thing they're not talking about with this whole Diddy thing. That's how you know the whole thing's a setup. Because if the truth is really coming out, the real truth is all them men are occultic and they're all into all kind of rituals and MK ultras and all this kind of stuff. That's what's really going on. And Cassie nothing but MK ultra sex slave. She's still a sex slave now. Nothing's changed. Yeah. They just got this little stupid court case going on, and ain't really nothing coming out of it except a few sex stories. But how can they not bring out all the occultism? Bring all that out, man.
That always says what I'm
Notice they don't ever say nothing. They never bring out none of that, do they? Them man are doing all the occult, and that's what you have to do. You come up in Esau's realm. Esau, you have to play the game the way Esau plays it. So you end up having to defile yourself and debase yourself and work all these wicked works of witchcraft in order to get yourself up in this society. But in the end, you're just gonna be destroyed. You're gonna destroy your soul.
Something real quick.
You want to get it Esau's way, you find out it's the nasty way. It's the nasty way, and it don't matter whether it's the music industry or no matter where you are, man. There comes a point you're gonna have to get down with the nasty in order to elevate yourself in this world. And these are the facts. That's why you shouldn't be chasing after riches and chasing after what you see these people have to. If you don't know what they've had to do to be in position, man, what position they had to be in position. That's why for all these years, these women were sitting there envious at Cassie
She was getting done
Yeah,
out.
which her story was like even just from a carnal level was wicked as hell because she was with Brian Leslie, right?
The
And
first handler.
the first time, but it's like from the eyes of the world, right? She was with Brian Leslie, like my man made the beats and stuff like that, got some tracks, and then she left him to go be
Oh,
with Diddy.
with Diddy, yeah.
So it was yeah,
And then Diddy was, because Diddy in that realm, he's a higher up.
exactly.
So he's running all the rituals and getting other people and putting them on the contract and introducing them into the fraternity and breaking them in. And they come in. That's how the game works. And then they come in, and once you come up to a certain level, you start going out and bringing people in and breaking them in. Because Diddy got broken in too to brought into the game in the first place. That's how the game works. So if they're talking about how Cassie is a victim, that don't play because they're all victims. If you want to break it down, they've all been seduced by wickedness, by the money, right? But then it's just like nothing. It's no different than a gang. If you look to a guy that's in a gang, right, that's recruiting people into the gang and he's targeting people, and you know how the gangs do. They target certain boys and give them chicken and chips and all them things there and run all these games on them to bring them into the gang, yeah? What do you think happened to them? It's the same thing. It's a cycle. That's how abuse works. Most abusers were abused themselves. Does that mean that they're not accountable for their actions? Do you know how many pedophiles were abused? Most of them. They were abused as a. I watch a lot of crime programs, and they'd be like, "Yeah, this guy. One I was watching. The guy went on a mad spree of pedophilia. Mad spree. He was just grabbing up boys to the point where boys were tooling up because they knew there was a guy going around in a car. And then when they actually caught him, yeah, they found out, yeah, he was getting, one of the places he was dumping kids was where his uncle or no, his stepdad used to bring him and abuse him. So is he a victim or is he a perpetrator? Well, it's both. Really, you will find where someone can't find some kind of way to give a sob story about how they're a victim. But
And this is why the law of the scriptures, man, it's there for a reason.
no one cares. Yeah, one guy was saying it straight, like Cassie is saying she was seduced into the thing, right? But if you were seduced into the thing, that doesn't mean they put me in. They seduced me. Even if you're seduced, you're still held accountable for your actions that you do, especially if you go and hurt other people. But that's what you see happening with Cassie. But then you would have had all kind of women that would wish they're in a home with their husband, they got their kids, they ain't getting abused and getting debased, and they got to eat feces and do all kind of nasty stuff. But they're looking at Cassie because of all the glitz and the glamour, and they're, oh, wish I could be Cassie. Oh, hey, I bet you don't. Or you want to be one of the kids from one of these Disney kids. I bet you don't. You really want to be the children of Will Smith? I bet you don't. Because the children of these celebrities, they get used in the rituals too. But people are envious of these people not knowing what they actually have to do to maintain and be in them positions.
But there's a whole thing in that dark fucking realm where they breed just to have children in that cycle, man.
Yeah, just to have them to abuse and sacrifice. Listen, man, that's why the scripture says, don't envy the wicked, man. Because there's a price that has to be paid either side. I'd rather pay this price than pay the price them man are paying. Because they ain't the one. Listen, this is what we do though. I don't want to eat no shit. I don't want to drink no piss. I don't want no man ramming me up the backside. And I don't want none of that wicked. I don't want to lose my soul like that.
And this is why we're told to suffer patiently, man.
Yeah,
Because things are not ideal. Fuck, you know it ain't. But we have hope. You know, we have hope this place is going to come to an end. We got to receive our reward.
You got Diddy.
Our integrity is intact.
You got to blow up, give a man brain so that you could get a position and so that you could, allow it.
Become the next CEO or this or whatever.
You got to let man bang your wife and shit. That shit. You got to do all kind of nastiness and man.
No, that was last days.
Yeah. Nasty. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. People envy these celebrities, man. But if their position is so envious, why they gotta be on so much drugs just to get through the day? People don't even think about that. Because really, it ain't all it's cracked up to be. Really, when they go in there, they become slaves. And then when they tell you, listen, bro, we're about to run a program and you're gonna go jail for it, they have to go along with it. They build you up. Once you get into that world, they literally control your life. So if they decide that they need to run a program and you need to get into a court case, then you're going to be in a court case. And it's not, you can't tell them, oh no, I don't want to do it. Bro, you took an oath. They own you. And that's what people don't understand. Once you go into that world and you sell your soul to Satan, they own you and everything you do.
Luke 6:23 and 24 says, rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. So that's for us. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for you have received your consolation.
Yeah, the man get their money out of it and they get their little blitz and the gamma. But to be honest with you, I don't think it's worth it, man. I don't think it's worth it at all because I'm a man that I can't live for certain things, man. You know what I'm saying?
Not that you can hold out for the glory, man. Of the
Yeah.
kingdom. You know what I mean?
I'm all right, man. I don't want to know. I don't need none of that freaky business. I don't want to need no witchcraft. I don't like that. It's so nasty to me.
And the thing is as well, so
Yeah.
like these these handlers, they know.
They said their bitches was swimming in piss, bro.
Damn.
Low down, dirty, man. Low down, dirty behavior, man. All that crystal and you drinking piss, man. Come on,
Nah.
man. That's nasty, bro.
Okay, shit's still the same, man.
Vomit and all that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's But it's what was said, that's because we all know guys in the ends that, let's say, were a better rapper than someone who got the deal. Like, for instance, everyone talks of Storms. He's far from the best rapper in London. But these guys know who's willing to go so far in a lot of these cases, a lot of these stories.
Yeah,
man.
it juiced in. That Central C.
You gotta want it.
Yeah,
That dude's sweet. You could see that man took that guy. He's sweeter than everything.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
sweet like Tropicana, man.
that's it.
And Drake just loves him. And Drake is another guy that they use to bring these guys in like a handler. He's like the new Westwood. He's the new Westwood of England. Before it used to be Westwood. Come on, guys, Westwood, yeah. And then if you wanted to be put on, you had to go through Westwood.
man.
And then what came out about him? All kind of
Everyone.
freaky, deviant behavior.
Yeah, and what's with the beat like in the casting? The BBC has all of these pedophiles in it, man. What I'm going for that?
That's how the game goes.
Makes you think that make you go, right?
That's how the game goes. Jimmy Savile,
Yeah.
all these guys, and they make you look like he's the only one. No, he's not the only one. That's just part of the course in this world, man. The higher you go up, the more occultic it becomes. There's more witchcraft. There's more sexual deviancy and all kind of wickedness that goes on. That's just how the game is. So either you want to go, you envy them, but I don't think you should. You know, I'd rather be on the little level than I am than being up there, man.
Because again, all that you know, our people that are into that is gonna be a shame unto them in the kingdom. You know?
Yeah.
That's not who you want to be. You know,
But
in the
it's a
kingdom,
shame
you know?
now, man. That shit can't happen, man. Them niggas, man, certain things is hard to live with, bro. Like you could pretend, man, but certain things is hard to live with.
Like man, like Gag and that dying the head of
Yeah, bro, it's a shame. It's a shame now, bro. Come on, man. You can't tell me the next day you wake up after
You feel
getting your
good about
cheeks
it.
clapped here, you all good about it, man.
I'm dirty.
Yeah, man. You feel sick, man. Some dirty Jew. You have to kiss his butthole or something, man. That's long, so you can flex. Anyway, let's keep it going, man. It's too disgusting, man. But no, but it just shows you. Everyone was looking at Cassie as the princess of hip hop. Turns out she was getting domestic violence and all kind of she was basically getting treated like a lurty, low down, nasty $1 whore.
Yeah.
And this is who gal were envying and wanted to be her.
But it's like Zucon, but like a lot of these women that go to Dubai, it's sort of like for people as well. There's like they'll do anything for money, man.
Yeah.
The whole porta potty thing. It's like they'll go there, get shot on by some Arab, right?
Get
Gonna say like
PTSD.
Americans. What do you call it? Just for a little 20, 30 grand.
And this is why I should say the love of money is the root of all evil, man.
But all that's been not, and see the reason why they're, not to carry it on, but sadism is now being normalized through these celebrities and all this stuff that's coming out, and it's all come out in a very sanitized way. So it's never connected with Satanism in any, which it absolutely is. And all this sadistic, man's choking women out and all that's all sadism. BDSM and all this stuff, and it's all being normalized like, oh, they're just having fun. It's just a little bit of sex. And don't be surprised if Diddy bust case, and all that's gonna come out of it is people just normalize to the fact that that's just what people do.
Oh, because that's one of the things I remember here that you hear in the world. Don't kink shame. Nah, you gotta kink shame.
Yeah.
You gotta kink shame.
And then also,
man.
all these people hearing that it's just more normalized for them. Okay, so it's a normal thing to do now. This is how you're meant to live, just depravity, debauchery,
trying anything.
That's bedroom shit. You know,
Why
they
you
do
wanna
what they
piss
want.
on your girl, blood? That's demonic, man.
Yeah.
Come here, baby.
Why?
Humiliation rituals,
Yeah.
man. What?
You got to live with that, kiss that.
But that's
Why?
all that stuff that the porn pushes and all that stuff, all that nasty humiliation, BDSM, sadism, and it's all rooted in Satanism and witchcraft.
Run by small hat.
Alistair Crowley, yeah. Anyway, let's keep it going. Nasty.
There's no.
Oh,
Anyway.
It's a book of Second Ezra 2:28.
Oh, can I get this precept from the board?
Yeah.
Salakia? It says salvation elects shalom to everyone on the board. It's Proverbs 19:1. Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool.
yeah, 100%. I remember when I was in school, they used to have this thing where man go, "Oh, would you suck a dick for 1 million?"
I remember that.
And then man's would be
Who's
like,
the
"Yeah,"
white boy? Who's the white boy?
and I'll be thinking, "Nah, man, because you will never, you that million ain't ever gonna wipe away that taste from your mouth, man. That's a vivid,
the picture. No,
Yeah.
you can't.
it's a vivid memory, man. You can't certain things, no matter what you do, you can't get rid of it, man. Money ain't the end all of be all of all things. You have to live with yourself, man. Like,
But that's all these fucking game shows as well. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
So these fucking the bush tucker trials and that eating fucking bull testicles and
So
shit.
what? You suck a dick or something busts off in your mouth, and you what? You go buy a Ferrari, and that makes it okay. Because what's a million? A million is gonna buy you what, a Ferrari, and so now you can speak in your Ferrari and know how man come tastes like. Allow it, man. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
some people actually.
There ain't no amount of money you should be taking for anything like that, man. Just go work at McDonald's,
Exactly.
right? And flip them burgers and get you a McDonald's get out, man. You know what I mean? What are we doing here? What are we doing here, man? Certain things ain't worth it, bro. Your integrity is gone, bro.
Finished. You're low life at that point, man.
Yeah, you're a low life. You're scum.
Low life. What else would you not do?
You basically become
What else would you not do?
you're defiled, but then you've got the money to dress it up.
You know what
But
these
the money is just gonna dress up what you know is broken within you anyway. And that's why you get these hoes, right? These hoes that go and debase themselves, yeah, and then they get money from it. So they get the money to dress up like a princess, but they're broken on the inside. Because even though you dress it all up, it's all still in here. You can't dress this up. You can if you now you have to start taking copious of medicating yourself because your mind is you sit in that room by yourself. At the end of the day, none of that stuff matters.
That's why what is it? The majority of American white women are on like some kind of drugs, medicated drugs and stuff like that.
That's why these people are so depressed, man.
Yeah.
Bro, you get them dudes that go to prison and get raped. Do you think it's ever gonna be okay? It's never okay. That shit, and they start bugging out and doing crazy shit because it's with them. They're super violent. It's true. Dudes get super violent. They always got to prove themselves, and no matter what they do, they can never get their manhood back here. So they're just wild out here, just doing madness.
Like someone we've heard of in the last couple of months.
That's how it goes, bro. Certain things, like, it's very different. It's in your brain, man. It's in your mind, and it's difficult to get over it. Money can't cure it, man. Money can't cure the disease of the mind, man. So just keep your integrity. It happens all the time. Remember that woman that killed her parents, yeah? And when they actually caught her, she was relieved. She's like, oh, it's fucking me up, like in my mind, like, you know what I mean? And she killed them and got the money and everything. But you gotta live with that, man. It's always in your head, man.
The woman was, mentally. He just, killed the mother and then took the eyes out.
I saw that one. Yeah, she was gone. Yeah, she was
She was crying like that. My demons.
Yo, the demons were in her head, bro. It's crazy. Anyway, go on now.
This is the book of Second Ezra 2:28. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, said the Lord.
Yeah, now when our time comes, man, there ain't none of this military, none of this scientific racism is gonna save them. The usual suspects talk and all this genetics. None of it. When Yahweh Shai comes, right, to establish his kingdom, there's nothing these other nations are gonna be able to do. They're just gonna be put into subjection, man. Through power. That's it. Pure power. There ain't gonna be no argument to be made. Yeah?
That's what the violence for, man. To beat you into shape. You know?
They think they have power now, but
They ain't seen it.
the funny thing about power, man, is that You got it until you don't, man. And when you lose it, it's a terrible thing.
It's relative, isn't it?
You can't relative, huh?
Oh, man. Great scene.
Yeah, that's it.
My hands shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell.
See? Instruction. We ain't gonna be touched by suffering and all these different things, death, and all these different things going on.
Be joyful, O thou mother, with thy children.
So this is still talking about Jerusalem being joyful.
With the children.
He didn't say the earth, like all the earthlings.
Airplane.
Jerusalem and Jerusalem's children. Good.
For I will deliver thee, said the Lord. Remember thy children that sleep, for I shall bring them out of the sides of the earth.
There you go. The children of Jerusalem are going to be brought out from the sides of the earth. What did it say? The elect shall be taken from the four winds, from the four corners. It's a consistent narrative. Go on.
And shew mercy unto them, for I
The Lord's going to show mercy unto them.
That makes me think, if I can real quick. It says Isaiah 14 and 1. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Consistent. You know, the mercy promised
Yeah.
unto our Father. That's in the book of Luke.
And those strangers isn't that problem.
Yeah, 100%.
But you only get that if you understand the narrative.
The narrative's clear.
Because that'd be another one the Christians would try and stretch out.
Yeah.
But you have to know the book.
You gotta have more. You have to have more to back that up, man. Go on.
for I am merciful, said the Lord Almighty. Embrace thy children until I come, and shew mercy unto them. For my words run over, and my grace shall not fail.
That's why we're still here. With all that's happened, our people are still here in great number. Because the Lord had mercy on us, even in our captivity. He wouldn't have it that our seed be done away. You know, we're still here, and then even more so to the point where we can understand, we can read, and we can get these scriptures, and we got this understanding, and we're pushing it out there. It's all the mercy of the Lord.
Makes me thinking of the time with Pharaoh, where basically Pharaoh was the more they oppressed, the more Israel became
Multiplying, yeah. You know, that's the spirit of the Lord, man.
And it's the same thing. He tried to get rid of the man children. You know, and the same thing Esau's, working on, eugenics and all kinds of shit.
So,
Are we still here?
Yeah, he can't win.
Yeah.
He ain't winning.
yeah, because once again, it's a spiritual thing, right? Because it's like he may do a test in his lab, and he may be like, yes, it's definitely going to target only them, and they're all going to die, right? But they're like, but look, man, when the scripture say, for example, shall eat poison and live, right? You had the time when the apostle Paul got bitten by the viper, right? And the barbarians around was like, yo, damn, shit,
Yeah.
But
I bet the CVs had to take more of us out than it did.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But even in scripture saying in the last trump, no evil shall harm thee. We're going to be protected from so many things, including the destruction of the fire. You know. So yeah, he still can't get rid of us as much as he's trying to.
It's like another as well. When you like the scriptures was at Romans, where it speaks about things written aforetime or written for our learning, where we look back at the stories of old, right? Prince Daniel and the lions den, right? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All of them stories where it's just like, really, man should be dead, right? But the Lord basically made a way, right? And those stories are written. Right, they happen. You gotta believe they happen. But yeah, to console us, because then these times he's gonna come with things where you're just gonna be like, yo, how you get out of it?
Hey, we need the miracles.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna take a miracle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a miracle we got this truth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jesus, how did it return to us?
The Lord's already working a miracle.
Only for the spirits his word come back to us, man. But it was taken out of the earth.
We didn't get this from Esau. No, Esau didn't want us to have this.
It's why scripture says Revelation, right? Great fear fell upon them that saw them, man. Right? Because the Lord gave
How
it
did they find out?
exactly.
How did they know?
Exactly. Lord reopened His truth up back unto us through the Spirit, right? And then it's like we're getting back in our right mind. And Esau doesn't like that.
With confidence.
Yeah, I stand with great boldness against such as those that have afflicted them, right? Because he knows that what was it in Judas 5 speaks about when Jake is in that, just committing wickedness, that the Most High ain't with us. So he thinks that by doing this program, by trying to kill us off, that he has a way, right? But the Lord has a remnant.
Yeah. And then and sin ain't gonna matter.
Mm.
That's why Yahweh Shai made that sacrifice, because if it was based on sin, none of us could be delivered. But Yahweh Shai has his elect that he bought with a price. And that's why they ain't gonna take that chip. Microchip.
Second Ezra 2 and 23. I, Ezra, received the charge of the Lord upon the Mount Olive, that I should go unto Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught and despised the commandment of the Lord.
Yeah, that's typical Israel going against the prophets, going up against the spirit of the Lord. That's why we've been getting our asses whooped. And to the most part, Jake's still doing that today. Jake's still going up against the men of the Lord, man. They don't want to hear what the Lord has got to say. They rather follow charlatans and people that's gonna steal their money and that, you know what I mean? Before they follow the prophets, man. Hey, you, as soon as you a wicked ass dude, man, that's ready to take Jake money, Jake will ready to follow you quick, bro. You try to give him, give him the spiritual things, man, and Jake don't want to hear it, man.
Yeah, but just another point on that, man. Again, the scripture says you sent unto Israel, right? There was no prophet that was sent unto any other nation.
Not for salvation.
No. That's not something that's about to be broken. Yahweh Shai was sent for his people. He even said that.
Yeah, he said that himself.
He said that, right?
I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Pulling that up.
There's no case where another prophet has been sent from Israel to preach unto other nations for salvation. It's not happening.
And that came up before, and what they try and saying, well, these other religions was God reaching out in a different way. The Oprah Winfrey New Age. That in that New Age, because it's one world religion, isn't it? Because then it would have made sense.
Why would he do that?
If the Lord was dealing with all people, then all people should have their prophets and that dealing with the same God.
With the same set of principles.
But they don't, because the Lord weren't ever dealing with all people.
You mean he couldn't give them all the truth? You have to give them different religions. No, he gave you different religions because you're not a part of his team.
As it goes on to say, and there I say unto you, O ye heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd.
Right, it says you heathen that hear and understand. Now you're going into the mystery. He already explained that the Israelites are scattered. So the heathen that hear and understand is talking about the Israelites that are scattered among the heathen.
God. Look for your shepherd. Look for your shepherd. He shall give you everlasting rest.
Yep.
For he is nigh at hand.
And this is talking about Yahweh Shai. He's that shepherd that's going to give us everlasting rest. So it's going to show you that everything that Ezra is speaking about links in with the Messiah.
That shall come in the hand of the word. Be led to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Free,
great light, John spoke.
Free the shadow of this world. Receive the joyful of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. Oh, receive the gift that is given you, and be glad, giving thanks unto him that has called you to the heavenly kingdom.
Right, and we know the called of the Lord are the Israelites. Go on.
Arise, have, and stand. Behold, the number of those that be sealed in the feast of the Lord, which are departed from the shadow of the world, and have received the glorious garment of the Lord.
Which the saints in the garments that's white. Yeah, that's in the Revelations too. Consistent narrative. Consistent. Yep. Big garment. Yep.
Take thy number, O Zion.
Oh, who?
O Zion.
So who's this all talking about? Zion. Monument of the Lord, which is the Israel. Read on.
and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white,
Right. Yep.
which have fulfilled the law of the Lord. The number of thy children whom thou longest for,
The number of thy children, yeah,
Whom-
Zion's children.
whom thou longest for, is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be aroused.
from the beginning. So again, nothing's changed. You know,
Same people, man. Growing up.
I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number.
which ties in with Revelation, which
What
is the
John
numbers
was
they
talking
knew
about.
all Matt. It's not talking about heathens. It's talking
Zion.
about other Israelites, man. You know,
And they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, taller than all the rest,
That's Yahweh Shai.
and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly.
he
So-
says Yahushua gonna, take all the crowns of the nations, right? They're gonna place it upon basically upon his elect, because they're gonna rule the earth with him, man.
So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, This be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal. And I have confessed the name of Most High. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Most High, whom they have confessed in the word. Then began I greatly to commend them.
Right.
So I was gonna say sons of the Most High, sons of God, right? Israel's name is Prince of the Most High, Prince of God. Right? We are the sons of the Heavenly Father.
Then began I great to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord.
Mm.
Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of the Lord thy power thou hast seen.
So straight away in this chapter 2, it's pretty much set it up. You know how the kingdom is for Israel, how they're gonna catch hold, but in the process of time, in the end, Israel, Jerusalem, Zion is gonna get that kingdom. He's talking about the elect, talking about the Messiah that's gonna save them. All these things are actually contained just in chapter 2. But Esdras, when you read on, he starts to think about, yeah, but what about now kind of thing, and what about, and then so it's all gonna be expounded upon. Go on, read on. Let's try and get it through it quickly as possible.
In chapter 3, I'm starting from the top again, second Ezra. In the 30th year, after the ruin of the seat, I was in Babylon, and lay trouble upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Zion, and the work of them that dwelt at Babylon.
Right. So this he's comparing Zion, the people he cares about, versus the Babylonians, the other nation. You know.
And my spirit was so moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and say, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and commandest the people, and gave gave a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands.
Right. So the original, you got Adam, the people, but then you end up having Adam, the actual man. Now, when the Lord originally created, well, everything, but men, it was actually the Lord actually the angels created a body. Now people think that's crazy, but it's not crazy. It's the Lord actually created the atoms, everything, put it all together, and made a fully functioning body, which had the ability to grow and also reproduce and create a little tiny little cell that can reproduce and create a whole new body by itself. That's pretty much how everything is. It was all created. It's like they say,
Figure in
what
itself.
came first, the chicken or the egg? Yeah, the chicken. The chicken was created with an egg inside, and then now it can replicate by itself.
It explains that. See within itself. It tells you.
Yep.
So simple.
And we are made from the dust of the earth. What's the dust of the earth? Even now we're made from the dust of the earth. Everything is done. The dust of the earth represents what? Elements.
The waters also.
Well, all the elements come from the dirt. You might say, oh, you're going off. We don't come from dirt. Bro, we eat what? Animals and plants. Animals that only exist because they eat plants. They get nutrients from the plants. Where does the plants get? Then how does a plant build itself? It builds itself from the earth. It takes in the iron and the potassium and all these different things and builds itself. We eat that and break it down, but it's the same elements.
Even the body that returns to dust fertilize the earth, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so we are made from the dust of the ground. And about how much water is it? Like 80% water or something? But the rest of it is just compound.
We're compacted in water in the mother's womb. Right?
Yeah, that's why your mother has to eat. She eats to get these
roots,
the dust,
the
the raw elements to build up inside you.
That's it. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to the Most High.
Yeah, so that's scientifically, a fact that all living things come from dirt,
Compounded elements.
which because dirt is all elements and them good things. Go on.
So there's 3 and 5 again. And he gave a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and it did breathe into him the breath of life,
Yeah, which is the scriptures, his understanding, spirit.
and he was made living before thee, and thou ledst him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted.
Yep, the paradise, man. Eden, right? Now, which was really the whole earth, but there was a garden eastward in Eden. Right? Go on.
Before ever the earth came forth, and unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed,
This is the same thing he said unto Israel. Go on.
and immediately thou appointed death in him and in his generation, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindred out of number.
That's right, because ultimately everyone on the planet Earth today is descendant from Adam, through Adam and Eve and on down, right? Because of Noah.
And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. And again, in the process of time, thou blottest the flood upon those that dread in the word, and destroyed them. And it came to pass in every of them that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to this. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men.
Yeah, righteous men, which is all righteous men come from the lineage of Abraham. Righteous men in Esau's lineage, righteous men in Moab. They're all the righteous men, which you recorded in the scriptures who they are. They're all Israelites. Yep. That's a fact. It's all coming from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on down. There ain't no other righteous men. If there is, show me them. Show me the righteous Edomite that's in the scriptures.
And then we'll go.
Oh, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, man.
I'm hearing the brother, read, going through, and one of the things that's coming to mind, right, is just this idea of, when Esau, took up the Apocrypha and stuff like that, a lot of understanding got taken out with it, because this is expounding on, and which call it Second Ezra 6 as well, and expounding a lot on, the first couple of chapters of Genesis, right? As an example, like for instance, Second Ezra 6, from around like 40 or 50, right? It's going into Enoch and Leviathan, the more expounding on, for instance, when man was made, and stuff like that, That's right.
It is a truth. And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply, and had gotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. Now, when they lived,
Right. So that was talking about after the flood. You had Noah and his 3 sons, and they started having children after them, and that's what formed the nations, what's known as the Table of Nations. Right? You read about in Genesis, the 10th chapter, and then obviously a few nations were created after that, like Moab, Ammon, Israel, Esau, Ishmael. You know, but to the most part, you find most of the nations that exist in the Bible were created during that particular time. Those seeds were divided into those particular seed lines, right? And all of them was going off. All of them was going off. The Hermetics, even the Semitics to the most part, and the Japhetics, they were all going off. All these different nations, heathenistic. Go on, huh?
now, when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them,
Yep.
whose name was Abraham.
Abraham. So specifically, you had Abraham, which Abraham come from a specific lineage going up to Shem, right? And the Lord chose him in his lineage. Go on, read on.
Him thou loved, and unto him only.
Him thou love. So the Lord don't love everyone. The Lord loved Abraham. That's why he chose him. And that's repeated again in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. So this idea that God loves everyone isn't biblical. In fact, the idea that God loves the world is recorded in the history. You go into the which I forgot which commentary. I believe it's a David Guzik commentary, and you go into John 3:16, where it says God so loved the world. Under the David Guzik commentary in that scripture, it tells you that it is not recorded anywhere in any Jewish, they're gonna say Jewish writing, the concept that God loved like the world. It doesn't exist. That concept and that idea that God loves everyone didn't exist. Now you might say, well, that changed in the New Testament. But understand, so you're telling me you had all these prophets, all these men of great wisdom and understanding in the Lord, and it was never written or recorded that God loved like everyone. That's because that's never been the case. And it's not the case now. All right? All right? Now you could go look that up. I ain't gonna look it up, but you could go look it up. I've done videos on it as well. They know, the scholars know. You can't find it. Not in nothing. Josephus, nothing. Nowhere you ever see where it says, oh, God loves everyone. But now the man keep running that rhetoric. Nah, Lord, God love Abraham. Go on.
Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou shouldst thy will, and made an everlasting covenant with him.
Made an everlasting covenant with Abraham. Not mankind, but with Abraham. Go on.
Promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed.
And that's why the nation of Israel, which is that seed of Abraham, like you said, could never be. That's why the Lord said, look, man, if you could break the covenant with the sun and the moon, then that's the only time the seed of Israel could be wiped out. No, the seed of Israel is a sure seed in the earth, because the Lord will never forsake. And that's why, going back into the Messiah being sent, it says the Messiah was sent. Why? Because he remembers his covenant with Abraham. The Lord is not going to forsake that particular seed of people. Now, why is Esau going to be wiped out? Because he ain't the seed. So he's Jew. Any nation can be wiped out on earth except Israel.
And that's why I said, we read it earlier, that the Lord didn't say to seek me in vain. It's not vain. You know? It's not a vain thing, because can't be done away with, man.
The Lord says, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. But the Lord could destroy all the other nations if he wants. Because there's no promise to them to not do that. You know, they ain't got a covenant with them like that. And that's why they're going to fear. When they see Esau get wiped off on the earth, they're going to be like, sheep. You know, it's like,
Let's not go down that road.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, it's like in them companies, man, they'll pick the hardest workers and fire him just to make a point. The rest of you, man, ain't safe. You better get to it. Sheep. Go on, huh?
2 Timothy 3:16. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and he put by Esau.
So Esau ain't part of it, man. Esau got put to the side. His lineage ain't part of it. The lineage goes through Jacob. Yeah, it's important. It's important.
And so Jacob became a great multitude.
Mhm.
And it came to pass that when thou led his seed out of Egypt,
So it's confirming
His seed.
the seed of Abraham was got led out of Egypt. Who was that? The Israelites. So why are we
That's some,
debating?
that's some theoretical.
Yeah, some theoretical,
spiritual.
political seeds. No, metaphysical seeds. Like,
Oh,
what's going on? And you can't mix seeds, by the way. That's what P Diddy and them man were doing in them parties, mixing seeds. Seeds can't mix. A person cannot be of a mixed seed because you are.
One of one.
Let me teach you, man, about biology, right? You can even get a situation where you get unidentical twins. But unidentical twins, the reason they're unidentical is because they come from two different sperms. They're not mixed. Now, an identical twins come from one sperm that's just split and then created two people. Yeah, you cannot get a situation where a
Two
sperm of
two
two
men.
sperms come together with an egg to make one person, let alone the sperm from a next bred. So there's no such thing as a mixed seed. Now you can get a mixed seed in the same way of I can get a bag of flipping peas and a bag of kidney beans and mix them in a bag. They're all
It's
still
two
separate, but they're mixed together.
Can't like smash them together and make
But
a
you
new
can't,
seed.
yeah, it's not gonna be like one mixed seed
Yeah,
together,
that's
like
it.
so it's half kidney bean and it doesn't work like that, my friend. When the scripture spoke about a mixed seed, it was talking about mingled, like different people living together as one, not an individual being mixed. You can't mix an individual. You are who your father is.
Mixed up.
Anytime you hear man talking about mixed seed like that, that's nasty. That shouldn't be. That's some P Diddy type thing going on. There's no such thing. You are who your father is. And that's one thing they messed up and got it all crazy. So now you got man debating about, you see the thing with Sway trying to tell the girl that she ain't black, because your mom's white and all this bullshit. No one cares about all that. It's all about the seed of the father. That's your identity.
Don't let them tell you shit.
and Exodus 3:17 again. And it came to pass that when thou led his seed out of Egypt, thou blottest them up to the mount of Sinai, and bowing the heavens, thou didst set fast the earth, moved the whole world, and made the depths to tremble, and troubled the men of that age. And thy glory went through for gates of fire, and of earthquakes, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel. And yet tookst thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
That's right. So then this is what it is. We had the law on paper, but Jake's still wicked in the mind, man. Uncircumcised in the heart. And that's what led to our downfall. Because we couldn't keep the laws, man, because of that wicked heart. So,
For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the hearts of the people with the marinate.
yeah, so basically we're in a situation that we wasn't gonna win. We, we was basically in a situation
Temporary setback.
that wasn't ultimately of our own making. Where we had a malfunction. Right? But we're still held accountable for that malfunction. But we have a malfunction. We got a wicked heart. That is, even if you try and be perfect, you're gonna fuck up at some point.
It's Romans 8 verse 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. We're waiting for that perfection. Like I said, we're not there yet.
And that's why the new covenant is better, because we're gonna be changed so that we can be perfect. In these bodies as we are now, we couldn't be. But now Ezra's gonna try and run a program As if that,
Don't matter.
but
Because the creature itself, sorry, but the creature, verse 20, but the creature was made subject to vanity. He was made in carnal flesh, of the carnal mindset, because we all suffered the downfall of Adam. We
the
all
Bible
suffered from
says
that.
the hearts of man is desperately wicked, man.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Like your mind is desperately wicked, man, and it can draw you out into all kind of foolishness, man. Just that, just that simple.
Yep.
The heart of man is desperately wicked, man. You're swayed by all kind of different emotions and lusts, hormones. Your hormones can affect how you think.
Yeah, you see that with women that ain't on the pill, right? They're completely controlled by their hormones.
Oh, women's hormones are all over the
All
place.
over.
Listen, how do you know? Like, if the dude too much testosterone can make you what? Aggressive. Get aggressive, and that might make you more likely to do something that you might regret. You gotta balance it. Give you that higher, you could be
I
over teeth.
Because it was toxic masculinity. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly. Right? It's not that we desire this for ourselves, the condition that we're in. That we wanted to go off and be in this mess that we're into right now. This is but by reason of him, who to him, the Most High. The Most High has a purpose and reason why this is played out the way it has. Right? Is that Elder the Apostle always speak about Elder is it Marshall that said it? King David? It's about we need to learn the evil to appreciate the good, man. To be understood both good and evil, right? This is not willingly, but by reason of him who are subject the same in hope. Because we have hope.
And it has to be hope.
Because we have a final form.
And then another thing is, that it's not on you. That it's by grace, it's by the mercy of the Lord, and you're literally dependent on the Lord for salvation. That when you see these guys trying to do the law, they're trying to put it back on them. As if you could do it for yourself. You can't do it for yourself. Yahweh Shai is the only one that did it. He's the lamb that was without blemish. And through his lack of blemish is how we making it. We're not making it because we could do what he did and be without blemish. But if you could have done that then we wouldn't have needed a savior in the first
Why
place.
did you need to sacrifice himself?
Yeah, we could have we're just gonna keep the law perfect.
And now our duty is just to remain faithful until his return.
And then we're gonna be as he is.
I just want to say they're moving like that, that independent woman spirit. I can do it all by myself because the Lord likened us unto a woman, right? And when you got a woman that's not following by her own rules, trying to do their own thing,
It's just a rebellious spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel we've been rebellious for a long time, man. We've never been able to do nothing by ourselves, ever. Same as the woman. They've never done anything by themselves. They've always been helped.
You gotta realize that we've been put in a very vulnerable position,
Yes.
but that
That
vulnerable position is the only way it can be. Because that
we
makes,
appreciate the power.
that makes you humble.
Yeah.
If we could do it all of ourselves, based upon ourselves, then where would the humility be? Where would you just be like, well, I'm perfect just because I'm perfect. But it's different when the Lord's like, look, I've showed you your imperfection. And as much as you try, you can't be perfected. But guess what? I'm going to make you perfect. And so we're going to know when we get them new hearts, it wasn't of ourselves. Because we remember what it was like not having that new heart. That as much as you try, you couldn't do it. So it's not about you then, it's about the power of the Heavenly Father. And that's really what it's all about. Showing that it's really in the Lord's power. All things are in his power. Whether it be good or evil, right or wrong, what happens up or down, it's in the Lord's hand. Even Peter had to find that out. When he said, oh Lord, I'll never deny you, man. Hey, that's why the Lord, listen, bro. It's up to everything's up to the Lord. The only difference between you and another person is with the Lord's will. That's it. Like, even if you're of the elect and another person's 2/3, what's the difference between you two? It's the Lord. The Lord has written that this is your path, and the Lord's written this is his path. That's the difference, really. So the Lord even made that within the nation. There's a contrast.
Mercy upon whom I have mercy.
Because the reason there's a 2/3 is to show that it's the Lord. Because, okay, you're both Israelites, so what's the difference?
No man can boast between each other.
It's the Lord. The difference is the Lord decided that these men's names were written from the foundation of the earth by the Lord's election. So who gets the glory and the power? the Lord. It's not us. It's really the Lord. Otherwise, every Israelite could just power up. You know what I mean? But we can't. Even if you wanted to, man, you gotta wait on the Lord. You have to be in hope. You have to be humble.
Even the story of Gideon, the Lord had to cut the numbers because he was like, look, man, they gonna say that they did.
That they did it, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Hey, that's why even in these last days, we don't have no strong military and all that. The Lord's put us in the most vulnerable position so that it can be proven that it's the Lord. But then we're gonna have the power.
What is it? We've got to surpass unsurmountable odds.
Yeah.
And they are insurmountable. It doesn't matter how you cut it.
That's why he's so proud.
Yeah.
So Esau always got in the back of his mind, he's got his military in his
That's
mind.
it. We've got so much to overcome. It's really an impossible task, right? But the Most High, through His power and His will, that it's all going to be, as He says it is.
Oh man, we're messed up on so many different angles. Like you see these people sit there. I've seen people sit there and say that, I've given up. Because with our people, it's not one problem. It's not one problem. It's like multifaceted problems that feed into each other. It's not just one problem. You could pinpoint one thing, and even if you try to hold that down, there's another problem over here that's feeding in.
Like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. It's like we're all the way messed up. Like, and it's all feeding into each other and multiplying and all these different factors, man. It's crazy. You try and fix it, you ain't gonna fix it.
In fact, we're always under bombardment of witchcraft. It's just not. It's not. Yeah.
That's why we need the Lord. If it was a simple thing of, okay, if we just get our money together, that ain't gonna fix it. Or if we just do this, like, then everything. No, there's actually no real one fix.
We'll build our own city. These things, you're not the first to think of these things, man.
No.
10 tribes went to America.
If we weren't so
to
messed
do
up,
that.
then there would be quick fixes. But we're like been broken down on such a high level, like people complain about dads in the home. No, most of these niggas is shit. I know a lot of niggas that had dads, and they're dads, bro, look at, you know what I'm talking about. I was talking about my woman the other day. We had a brethren that we grew up with, and he's one of the baddest boys on road. It's cool with us, bro. But his dad was always there. It made no difference, like, because that was a bad boy. People forget about that. So they were already so. Right now, our people are so messed up. Like, even if they had their dads in the house, it wouldn't make no difference because the dads are messed up.
It makes you think about what you said earlier on about how like abuse or trouble begets trouble.
Yeah.
So it's just like if you were from a bad situation, which that's most Jake. Our parents, he's what made sure.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like they're coming, you're growing up, and then so that's why none of the relationships work.
Yeah, it's all broken.
All broken, all
It's
messed
all
up.
broken. We're like, it's not one person or one thing. It's like it's just across the board. If it's not this, it's that. And that's why a lot of people, you see them, they struggle. They're like, this idea that you can fix, the idea that you can fix black people, bro, it's too much. It's too much. Only the Lord can fix it because it's like, it's too far gone. There's too many generations of fuckery. Like,
the whole head is sick.
yeah, it's mad.
Finished, man.
I'll be talking to people sometime and I'm like, this guy's a fuckhead, man. Or this good woman's a fuckhead, man. He can't, what are they gonna do, man? You can't fix this person. And then the kids are now even worse. And then even when you do that, then you gotta combat all the other external different influences. It's fucking difficult, like even raising a child now. Let's say you get like two parents that they got their head screwed on, they're functional, and they're gonna raise their child the right way. Guess what? You can't fucking do that. We were not designed to live in isolation.
Even men in the truth that got children, it's
Yeah,
hard.
it's hard.
If you read the scriptures, men that were priests, they had rebellious children, bro. So he's doing bad then. It's worse now.
How can you do? I mean, you're trying to do the homeschool thing, but guess what? Doing that is hard because you need financial backing in order to do that. Yeah, and all these different things. Bro, it's hard, bro. I'll be at home and have my daughter say some shit. I'm like, where the fuck did you learn that from? Like, I don't, every Christmas, trying to stop your kids from liking Christmas. It's damn near impossible, bro. Because everything around you, and you just look like a humbug.
Well, even last Christmas, or one of my daughter's cousins bought her, Rudolph from the reindeer.
Oh, kick the blood clot. No, it's damn near impossible because you weren't meant to be raising a child in isolation. The child has grandparents and
Mhm.
uncles and
exactly.
aunties and all those people also have an influence on them. So if you're surrounded by shit, yeah, it's extremely fucking difficult that if to be the only one to influence your child, man. It's not meant because it was never meant to be like that. It was meant to be a village of people who were like-minded, man.
Yeah.
So when you see these Jakes, some Jakes try and do the right thing, but you're surrounded by fucking demons. So man will go to school and all the friends he could choose from are fuck up. So what do you expect's gonna happen? Man?
I saw that there was
It's fucked.
saw some kid, my nan's friend's kid. Kid's a good youth, but still ended up getting chased into a library and
Bro. It's there ain't no quick fix. There ain't no. That's why the only thing that can deliver our people and save us is ultimately the miraculous
Yeah.
workings of the Lord, because our people are literally so far into the deepness of darkness, yeah, that one thing can't fix
Yeah,
it.
but-
If
yeah,
you were to put
yeah.
your finger on one thing, it won't fix it.
which proves all these Jakes are art. It's just about chasing the bag. And
Oh,
if you
that
will
back
get
can't
money.
fix it. No,
What
look at
can-
Diddy.
what can
Look
money
at
do?
Diddy and
Yeah,
Cassie and them.
Yeah, look at that.
they got them.
Man's fucking rich and
Edomite
sliding around the
Bro,
baby.
if there's one thing that 100% I know won't save our people is money.
Whoa,
Because niggas, you can't
Yeah.
give niggas, listen.
what-
I've got precept.
remember that Dave Chappelle
Yeah,
skit?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Remember when all the niggas got money for
Listen.
reparations and all the stocks of everything off just went up?
Yeah,
What they say,
Cigarette.
Chicago, right? It's
Yeah.
got a high murder rate, right? What do you think would happen, yeah, if
Oh,
you
God.
went into
Oh,
Chicago and gave each one of them niggas 50 grand?
Yeah,
Bro, the murder rate would go through the roof.
Yeah,
Because the first thing man's doing is buying a
Bad
brand
luck.
new Matic
yeah,
with bare
Whoa.
bullets, because they're already in that mindset.
yeah.
So the money only contributes towards the mindset you already have.
Got precept.
So money won't. It's like all of a sudden, man's gonna become librarians
Right,
and start
right.
being civilized. No, niggas is gonna be like, yo, we need to get this new chopper. They're going. So it's gonna be what's known as a arms race.
Yeah, basically.
And then them man want the 50 grand that them man got
Yeah.
because they want 100 grand. So it's just because they already have that mindset. So if there's one thing that won't save our people for sure, is money. That's definitely not gonna save nobody. It has to be spiritual, man.
Real quick, Sirach
We
14.
need everything all at once.
Everything. New body, new mind,
Yeah.
like just change.
So you get with a woman and it's like you got to deal with her broken ass family,
Broken family.
bro, and
broken
she got a couple crazy. Your kids now have a couple crazy uncles.
For real. For real. For real. Bug out.
Bro, it's
You
just
know,
how it is, bro. It's
and
just
then-
you know.
And then
He comes around and you're like, you gotta have him around because it's like, and he kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like, this man might bug out, he might crash out, and do some crazy shit.
anything like
Bro, it's
No,
insane, man.
it's
You got a few crackhead cousins,
second cousin,
and your kids have to be.
people, unfortunately that have taken advantage of the kids.
Oh man,
That's
yeah,
still
yeah,
scarred to this day.
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It's fucked up, man.
Yeah, we've had too much happen, man. There's too much psychosis,
Yeah.
too much, too much, man. It's not one thing that can fix it. That's why the internet is just full of people trying to claim that they can fix black people by doing this.
And if you notice amongst Jake, a big thing now is going to see a therapist. Like it's like a social thing. Oh yeah, so have you taken time to go see your therapist? Because especially amongst Jake,
Yeah,
You
they've
know-
got problems, man.
Edomites do it, like go see therapists and that. But it's just like, have you noticed amongst Jake recently, especially in the last, let's say 15 years, decade, it's like it's become a Jake thing now.
Most Jakes have gone through trauma, mad trauma, mad psychological trauma in many different type of ways and forms just growing up, man. Even as a
Inherited.
child, like you go through things like even racism itself is a
Yeah.
trauma. And our people went through hardcore racism. Like, what do you think that does to someone's mind as a child when you're being discriminated against? You don't even know yourself. You don't even know what you are and you're being discriminated. It's messed up. But anyway, let's keep it going.
Real quick, on the money. Sirach 14:3. Riches are not comely for a niggard, and what should an envious man do with money?
Yeah,
Bro,
come on, man.
Bro, you give these niggas money, man. Niggas will destroy
Niggas
themselves.
will destroy themselves.
Niggas will buy all the foolishness and all that. It's that money's definitely not gonna save anyone.
Yeah, and like Jake get money to want to oppress. Jake get money to wanna like oppress their own man.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
And I have to say, you know these Jakes, oh let's go to Ghana. Ghana ain't the kingdom of heaven, but you know these niggas you know these Jakes in
Build up the
Babylon.
kingdom.
Oh yeah, go Ghana. Them niggas are wicked too, bro.
Yeah, they're wicked as
But
hell.
Akon City, bro.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
the
same
same shit.
And then,
Shit, man.
and then not only that, you're taking your Americanisms with you
Yeah,
because you've got a certain way of living.
Yeah, it's like we're the problem.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
How we are is
Yeah,
the problem.
that's it.
That's why we could never do nothing right. So we're waiting for our change, man.
Bro, look, man, them niggas back in Ghana, bro, they're hustling. Like, I remember I was there recently, bro. Like, I saw some, Jakes from Babylon came Ghana the first time in it. So obviously
Overcharging like everything.
but it's funny, like, they were walking through the market, with like robes and scarves, kente
And them
cloth.
man are in
No,
there
like-
wearing Arsenal t-shirts.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like the Jakes from Babylon the first time.
Yeah.
Obviously they're coming back
Trying
to
to embrace the
their
culture.
land, so they're wearing all the hard
And these men are all wearing American.
and they're like talking to them, oh, welcome back, but like in my head, I'm like, these niggas are like,
Target.
come and buy these beads, I'm gonna charge you 10 times the price. Hey, yes, boss, to our brothers. Bro, the whole nation got to just get changed.
Yeah, they need drastic.
That's all they're doing.
Bro, even the other day, like this gal I knew. It's just the cycle is undefeated. I met the girl. You know who I'm talking about. You'll know her, yeah. So I met this girl like at work, bro. She always late, even on probation. She's always late.
Wow.
I know you.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. And then remember I was chatting to her, yeah, and she was telling me, you know when gal overshare. So she's like, yeah, I got this man and he busts inside me and that.
Ross, that's a
Yeah,
good
bro, she was telling man, bro,
Yeah,
no
madness.
shame, yeah. And then she was like, but I don't rate him because he just come out of jail. And I was like, oh. And I was thinking, so let me get this straight. This bro just came out of jail, and you're having unprotected sex with this dude.
You don't rate.
And then I tried to do the the older righteous said,
Okay.
listen, man, you gotta be careful, man. You need to start picking men better, right? Then she was telling man a story one day about how basically, and she's cool, she's cool, but she was telling man a story about how her mom, how her dad and his brother are basically from two brothers. So they've got like two different surnames. One of them's got hers, and it was just so basically the mother was dealing with two brothers, and then bro. And then I remember one bro was like, "Yo, don't keep people." Yeah. But anyway, I'm just listening to this. I'm listening to this whole thing, and her dad that she has him active in her life, without hearing her, but she's just
That's fucked
one
up.
of them promiscuous girls. She got spare sins everywhere. And then the other day I was talking to someone and man told me, oh yeah. I was like, what's up with her? She said, oh yeah, she's been off work for a year. The first prayer that she just had a youth with just denies the youth, yeah. And now she got a new man. And I'm like, you could just see this is where it was all headed. It's just generations of fuckery. And now that youth is fucked.
No hope.
Bro, there ain't no fixing. This needs missiles and
New bodies,
repentance.
yeah,
bro.
Control,
Everything
alt,
was
delete,
done.
guy.
It's mad.
Run next simulation.
new bodies.
And it's like you see it happening in slow motion.
Yeah.
You just see like, okay, guys, yeah. You're a fuck up. You're gonna do some man. You're gonna get freed by a random brer that he was banging the clubs.
Well, even
A bad
recently,
boy as well,
well, even recently, one of them Jakes. Do you remember like in the States, there was that state where a couple of Jakes escaped the prison.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. One of them 2/3 on that list. Yeah, one of the 2/3 on that list. Yeah. Basically, his pops was a OG or whatever in the street, yeah, and got
Executed in front of him,
Executed in
right?
front of
Yeah.
him.
I saw that. Yeah.
killed in front of him
And his sister.
and his sister.
Yeah. No, his sister didn't get killed. It was
But-
him and his
Yeah,
sister.
him and his sister.
It's
So
all
it
that
happened.
kid. Yeah.
And basically, even the other nigga in jail is telling his story was like, bro, now I understand why he's so fucked up.
Yeah. he's
Because you can
fucked up.
see him, he's got face tat.
Yeah.
He just looks.
It looked like he
crazy.
had the two pillars of Freemasonry
Yeah, it's something
on his
on him.
streak, and another thing,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, yeah, this guy's
Like-
fucked. And his sister's also in jail.
You see what I'm saying?
So
It's like, yeah, it's a demon, whatever, that's the tough. But it's like, you just gotta get changed, man.
hey, but you know what? That goes back into what we was talking about earlier. That most people can pretend to be the victim, that are even perpetrators,
Yeah.
because everyone has a sob story they can give as to why they've decided to take the route that they've taken. But he's still accountable for his actions if he's going around shooting people and doing madness. But just there's so many Jake with that, man.
Yeah.
Most Jakes that a lot of Jake, if their dad's gone jail and he's a bad boy in the streets, they go up. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've known man that every single one of their sons have gone bad boys in the streets
the
and go
whole
to jail.
line, the whole line.
Just following him.
That's the
Fucking
legacy.
father,
And they
their
got
granddad's
different
the guy.
mothers. Like
Yeah,
it didn't matter. Like they all, because obviously you as a child, all you know about your dad is a bad man. You don't really
live
know
up
him
to
like
the
that,
name.
and then you
Yeah,
start
yeah.
thinking that's your identity. So you start doing badness. Man.
I got one. This is
One of the best things you can give your child is an example, man.
for real.
Because you set a bad example, man, they're gonna follow you, man.
Follow that.
That's why the scripture says, "So is the mother, so is the daughter."
Yeah, yeah.
If the mother's setting the example of being a certain way, then you
Yeah.
can't. And I've heard that on the bus. I remember one time there was a gal on the bus. She was like, "Yeah, she had me when she was like 14, so she can't tell me nothing." Yeah, but what can you say? When you're trying to keep her on the straight and narrow and don't, yeah, but she knows that you were doing madness. So she's like, "Well, how could you get to do all that madness and I don't?"
Yeah.
Go on now. Look.
Nah, this is Isaiah chapter 1 and 3 on down.
We're gonna have to finish up Ezra next week. Lord willing, unless something crazy happens.
It says, "The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider." It says, "Ah, a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity."
And it's only getting worse, man. The principles that Jake used to claim they had, they don't exist no more. Jake is just out here just doing the most depravity, debauchery, things that when I was growing up was an Edomite thing.
Yeah,
Jake is just doing it now.
Yeah. I know there was a time when
Well,
you
like
could say
even
there was a
drugs.
white boy too. Yeah.
Like obviously the crack you know what I mean, epidemic and stuff. That's a whole nother story. But like even like for us here in London, remember like there was a time where
Just weed, innit?
weed, didn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Now these
And now it's like now it's cool, you know, lean and balloons now.
it's bare wickedness.
It's very wickedness. It says, yeah, exactly.
No shamelessness. And
Yeah.
the social media era has helped to push that because all of them people that have all the negative aspects get the most views and attention. And then the youth, then when they're watching that, you see things different to old people.
Yeah.
Like an old person will see something and be like, "Yo, that's fun." But a youth will see it, and all they're seeing is attention, and they don't digest it, man. So then they start copying the behavior because they're young and dumb.
What they, I bet they even had that program on Channel 4, Shameless. And that was the general program, man. You know, but that's what life has become like.
Like even the German school days, like after school, you get your phone and put it like on a bus and play like I don't know like gigs or something. To like be cool. But while grown people finishing work, like bro, turn that shit off. It's like you know what I mean? Like but to like you to like you small kids, it's cool. Okay, oh, you're playing your phone loud. Shut up, man, and all that. But then now where you're like 30, got a
You
pot
realize
belly
it's-
now.
Yeah, it's messed up.
It's like, what the fuck is this kid doing? You know what I'm saying?
Public bus.
Yeah,
It's a
but,
public bus,
yeah.
right?
but goes to show, because we talk about the social media stuff, it goes to show that this is the society that Esau wants.
Yeah.
Because you get certain countries, I think Egypt was an example, where it's like you had one woman, and then the way she was dressed in the music
They
video,
shut it down quick.
they shut it down, put her in jail, because it was like, look, we ain't running, we ain't
Yeah,
we
but
ain't tolerate.
they have a thing of they have a culture that they accept and they fight to protect it.
Exactly.
The problem with so-called black people is like we don't have no structure to protect any positive culture. So the negative aspects of it, because like I said, you go into that guy, the Russian guy, and he speaks about subversion. And he said a people can only be subverted if they allow themselves to be subverted. There's always going to be fringe elements within any society. Doesn't matter where it is, you'll always get one dickhead that will pop up and want to do some stupid shit. In a functional society, that guy or whatever they're doing gets shut down expeditiously. And it's known that that's not happening. Whereas if you ignore it, that one person becomes two, two becomes four, four becomes eight, and then that thing could actually become where it starts dominating.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happened in so-called black culture. The most negative and necrotic parts of the culture gets a big voice and a big platform, and the people don't fight against it. If Sexy Red wants to do a show in their town, no one is gonna come and burn the place down and say, "No, we're not having it."
Yeah.
They're just gonna talk about it. Oh, because there are a lot of people that don't agree,
Yeah.
but their disagreement isn't a fight. In India, they will burn her. They will find her and oh, you're trying to influence my daughter to grab her out. That, and that's why it's difficult to subvert people that are like that. Because they're like, look, man, you're not doing that here.
Yeah.
You're going
Yeah.
to die
You see?
before we allow that to be here.
You see, but over here in the West, like the prime example was the World Cup when Qatar.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, why are they doing it over there? Because you can't just come and drink fucking alcohol.
They don't tolerate.
Go and piss on the street. You know what? You remember that freak video, bro? You know
In England, well, yeah,
the England
Euros,
fans.
finals,
The bass shit.
Oh, when they were
drinking
pouring it
that
out, yeah.
All that bass shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like it's like don't
Yeah.
go bring your bass culture over
Yeah, in
here.
a proper culture, those three guys
Well,
that did that
every-
would be found,
In
man.
any,
to
in
deal
any,
with,
any part of the world,
you know. But in the Western,
Yeah,
especially
I
among
Also
so-called black
fun.
culture, they will wink at it
Winter.
until it becomes a big thing. Because now this person's influencing the whole generation, and it becomes bigger and
But
bigger.
these are the same people that the elites look at, man, that injury.
Useless.
But they allow it to fester down here because it was the agenda.
Fester is exactly what happened. But that's why in the law, what happens? If you look at our law, when something happens, you deal with it,
Yeah.
and it gets taken away.
Yeah.
You don't ignore it. You know what I mean? When it's like the body. If you let a virus come into your body, if your body just
Chill.
said, it's only two of them,
Allow it.
and you just chill. By the time you turn around, it's a million of these motherfuckers, man. You can't beat it then.
That's it.
You got to attack it straight up.
Straight on.
But our people, we don't have that patriarchal structure in order to know what we stand for and really stand on it. So we'll there'll be some people on the comment, because you see it on the Sexy Red, people like, this is horrible, but they're not gonna go find her and fuck her up or nothing. So then all you're doing is giving it attention.
Yeah, but then it also provide the environment where that's bullying.
Yeah.
So it protects them for doing all this madness. Each individual has the right to do it.
Really, you even commenting about it is helping them because you're spreading it. So it's not gonna. Yeah, go on.
This is Leviticus 19 and 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness.
There you go. You can't look. Yeah.
I'm sure you can't just leave shit.
Public beatings is one of the best ideas that ever happened. Because there's nothing more embarrassing than a public beating. And you can't be made cool from a public beating. You see when people go out and they do some crazy shit, what should happen is they should be found and then put in the public square where all the school children can see them while they're going past and whip them and make them cry. And I guarantee you, if that happened, all them man would think, that's not cool. Whatever he was doing ain't cool. I don't know, he's an idiot. Like, they all got whooped. But when man are all cool for school, they do things and nothing already happened to them. It proliferates because man are like, there ain't no consequences.
Bro, you see, for example, something is like stealing. Stealing is like, it's like obviously no one likes to thief, but here it's like, just give him a slap on the wrist. In some regions, man, I've seen it. Well, I remember back in the day, I was a kid. Some guy was fixing my aunt's shoes, and when she went inside to get money, stole her phone and left. Like 2 months later, we saw him in another part of the town, and they just grabbed him by his belt. Thief. But that's what they say. They chant it. They say a word. Bro, the whole area of men got timber. They like literally 2x4s cracking off his head. He was faced with like
an example. So and then what you're finding is in places like that, it's not glamorized or cool to do these things. But in this society, like I said, it's glamorized still. That's why I don't bother commenting. When you comment on the thing, all you do is help in the algorithm. And that person then becomes more famous and more eyes on them. When really what should happen is when that guy or that girl does something that collectively no one agrees with, man should just find him and whoop him publicly. And I guarantee the youth will see that and say, yo, that's not the way.
Well, like that white bitch. She's a fan. I just scroll past her. You don't want I'm gonna sleep with 10,000 men.
Yeah, she should just be. She should. Bro, She's only got bigger shock factor,
Yeah, that's
and the
it.
fact that man can't just come find her and say, listen, what you could be a hoe, but keep it to the back streets. If I see your face again on the internet trying to push this, that's it for you. And public beating, it will get quashed. But you engaging with it, it's what she's doing. She's farming. She's rage baiting because it benefits her. The more you rage at it and type engagement, the algorithm gets pushed out. Like the more you repost it, and then that's why she's everywhere.
And the state of social media now is that these people are also getting, because you see a lot of people are responding to, and it's just they're like, yeah, that's exactly you're
What they
not even
wanted.
exactly what she wanted. But not only that, you're not even being genuine. You're just putting a name in the box so
So you
that
can
when you
capitalize
search,
that.
you can capitalize.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
it. That's what I'm saying. The whole social media feeds into wickedness with no consequences. When really, in certain countries, if she was doing what she's doing, man, then would, like it was Turkey or something like that, man would go find her, and then you wouldn't see her again, and then it would be job done. You just the next video you will see is her getting fucked up, and that'll be it. I remember one time I saw one video. I must have been somewhere in Africa. Some family must have found out one girl was doing the online thing. Bro, them man, bro, they dealt with her blood. It was her cousins and that blood, and they dealt with her with like wires, and bro, all of her legs was whipped up. Now I guarantee you that in that village or wherever they are, the other girls know, yeah, that ain't cute. We ain't trying to do that, like, because she got dealt. The next video you saw of her was her facing consequences, and that's it. We ain't talking about it no more. We're moving on.
The book of Deuteronomy 21:18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the herders of his seat and unto the gate of his press, and they shall say unto the elders of his seat, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice.
And there's a lot of these bad breeds. And another thing about these bad breed youths here, they're a big problem among our people. Right? Because I've been watching a lot of these crime shows, yeah, and I find it fucking despicable. The amount of times I'm watching where this guy flipping did some mad shit, like, yeah. I remember one of the guys I was watching, he fucking robbed some woman with her child, made the woman give him head, all kind of crazy shit, yeah. But bro, he did madness here, but he ended up getting 2 years or 3 years for it because they only did him for one particular thing, and then he came out of jail. Yeah, and then he came out of jail, and then fucking murdered someone. And then it's like there's so many instances like that where these people need to just be removed from society forever. They should not, because some people, it's just true. Some people, they've got a criminal mindset, they're broken for whatever reason, and they're gonna just keep on murdering, killing, stealing. Your family ain't safe as long as they're on the streets. And that is a big plague in the so-called black community. These bad breeds that been bad since they were like 8. I know, bro, they've been bad since they were 8. They've been in and out of Felton, in and out of flipping, juvie, in and out. And these men don't change their lives. Listen, let's keep it real. Fucking most of them do not. They are reoffenders. They just keep reoffending and go from one crime to a worse crime to the biggest crime to murder. Then once they're at murder, they stay there, and there'll be more murders. And if you let them out of jail, don't take long till they start committing more crimes again. They're not going to change their life. But if the law was put into complex, these bad breeds that are like that ain't going to be rehabilitated, they just wouldn't be here no more. But while they're here, they're creating more victims. They're having children. They're influencing other people. So that element is just causing chaos.
Well, that happy slap culture. Remember, people used to just go around and slap people on camera and run, and it was cool. Like, I mean, like that whole gangster culture, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro, I'm telling you, it's true. There's a lot of Jake here that are really major drivers of wickedness in among the people, and they really should be better off dead. The whole world to be a better place. But you know, this is where we are. You're stuck with these people, man. Everyone knows who they are. When man in jail, it gets peaceful. I remember there was a time on the Goin where they locked all them man up here, and the ends was nice. As soon as these men start coming out again, bare badness, like bare shots firing, bare men are getting robbed because they come out and just carry on as they were. Then they go back, make some kids, leave them badass kids on the street, and go back in jail again. Their kids take over.
Well, that nigga Mark Duggan.
Yeah. Prime
He
example.
was a nigga,
And his son's a nigga.
and now his son's a nigga.
And then his
And
son's
he's in
gonna
jail.
have another nigga.
Yeah, his son's gonna make another nigga. Fucking
And they're breeding.
kind of niggas. Like,
And then you gotta walk up and down the market with these men with your youths, man.
Yeah.
And then you rob your youths.
man, even obviously, you know, I'm from a certain kind of environment. So I remember this one nigga, right? This guy was like, I remember when he was like, year 6, I used to see him on the block, innit? I just knew he was a nigga, even in the war. I said, this guy, he's this guy's going to jail. And he got robbed at knife point, stabbed and died. That was the same nigga. There, see? That guy, that's a nigga 15 years of making. You know what I mean? Now he's in jail for life.
Yeah, stabbing man up over a pair of trainers.
For trainers.
There you go. And he ain't gonna get no better.
Oh.
I hope they put him on that IPP, bro. The streets is safe. What's it called? IPP or
Yeah, I think it's that.
is it IPP?
Yeah, basically, like if you get like a 2-year sentence, but if you have that on it, basically,
forever.
so you can stay there for like 20 years. Yeah.
Listen, I'm in agreement. A lot of these dudes don't belong out with normal people.
You don't belong
It's
out.
true.
Let them die in there.
Well, let's keep going. We'll close up in a bit.
And all the men of his seed shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shall thou put evil away from among you.
Right, because if you leave that rebellious and demonic youth, he's only going to cause more pain and anguish, and one thing will lead to another. That's why I always told my kids, man, I said, little things lead to big things. A dam it's a little tiny leak. Then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. They start up on petty crimes, and then they end up as murderers. That's just how the game goes. So if you keep this youth around, that youth is gonna basically, not only is he gonna do wickedness, he's gonna start influencing other dudes.
Especially when they're flashing the money, they're getting and all that kind of stuff. It entices them to go and follow in the same footsteps
Bro.
because nothing's being done about them.
I remember when we was in school, we was all looking up. When I really think back at it, we was looking back up to bad boys. Like, why?
Yeah.
Man could have probably been earning good money right now as a nerd, but instead I'm looking up to these man. And what were they really? Just dickheads. Fucking-
Slow belly.
but they were the cool kids.
Those were the cool kids.
But they were bad. Like, you know what I mean?
But then after even the like the
Gotta get rid of them.
all of the birds and girls that used to like him, you see them after school now. You're like,
Hey, they're bad. Like,
now they're like 8 youths, 9 dads. I mean,
Bro,
don't make no sense.
that's the other half.
Nine
That's the
dads.
other half of the equation. That's the other half of the equation. Yeah, it's messed up, man. You think about if those dudes, if a lot of these elements were removed completely, they wouldn't be there to influence. Because most people are sheep and they're influenced by people. That's why you got to get rid of any kind of time you got a demon like that. You
Yeah.
got to get rid of him because other man will start looking up to him and start influencing.
emulate
And now you're emulating this guy because you think he's too cool for
Yeah,
school.
yeah. Sheep, innit? That's like, sheep, man. It even showed you like in the Wire. It's like one old nigga got taken out of the way by a new young nigga, and then Marlo takes over, and after Marlo, the younger brats, Michael and all them guys coming up after him. They now want to be in power now. It's just a fact.
Cycle.
It's a-
Where does it
bro,
end? You got to kill them all.
bro,
So you got
You got to kill them all, man. You got to get all the roaches.
Like-
Otherwise, they should keep breeding.
yeah, like
You
bro,
gotta read
there's
it.
actual jakes that come from a family of niggas. Like
Yeah.
their fucking dad, their
Bad boy
granddad,
family.
were all niggas.
Yeah, we know them. and it'd be better if they didn't exist. It's just true.
It's just true.
It's just true. The neighborhood would be safe. I just want to go to the park in peace with my
In
kids,
peace,
man.
bro.
I ain't got time with all this. I go to work, man. I don't need all that. And it's a minority, but they have such a strong impact.
Yeah.
You know?
Real. This is back in. I've got more now.
It's a little bit.
Okay, yeah, go on. I'll read
So,
it
I
out.
mean, all Israel shall fear and shall hear and fear.
You
That's
know,
right. That's it. So you
Yeah.
hear and you fear. That's why I believe they should bring back public beating. It ain't enough to send these men to Fenton. The man go Fenton, nobody can't see them.
They go play Xbox.
They go and then they come out and they use it as a badge of honor. But instead of going Fenton or getting an ASBO, if you put them in Barking Town Centre, strap them up to something and start hitting them with the freaking whips and they start crying tears out of their eye, blood. There ain't nothing cool about crying tears out your eye, bro. Them man will be like, oh shit, you know what, man, this ASBO thing is it's not cool.
And
It's
then
like these wicked ass niggas that put these other gang members up on the video and like suck them about. And then they
They ain't cool after that, are they? That's what they should be doing, man. I believe in public beating, and that's in the scriptures. Stripes. Bitch acting up in the supermarket, acting crazy, give her 5 stripes publicly, man. It will shame her and humble her down, and then it will show all the other women and that. Yeah, that ain't cool. Don't do that shit because you're gonna get publicly embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing more embarrassing than getting beat in public. You remember that? You know when you back in the islands, bro, if you showed out in public here, the worst thing that could ever happen is if you got dealt with right there and then. In front of everyone laughing at you and because you did and you all crying, bro. It's embarrassing. That's what needs to happen more.
Like, bro, these Jake don't even know the feeling of seeing like you know when you get the
welts.
line of lumps.
Welts.
Yeah, you know when it's on you like.
I know them ones, bro.
I remember school days in Ghana, yeah? Back in the day, you know what we used to do before we used to get read? We used to get
Books or something.
and go up and then, but then like we'll make,
Niggas trying to beat the system.
yeah, try to beat the system, but then like we'll make the sound like it's a book and then take it off and
Hold on, man. Go, man.
it says it says this is back in Isaiah 1 and 4. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Why should ye be stricken any more? Ye will revolt more and more.
Yeah, you see that? Like, to be honest with you, after the seating happened and everyone got sat down in the house, yeah. And I feel like after the seating and everything got worse, man. Like they was just started doing more wickedness than before.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Like it just felt like things just went like onto a next level.
Well, even that whole taking a fucking laughing gas and driving, I don't think that happened before COVID. Like the niggas came out of COVID and they're driving with laughing gas, crashing the truck, like car everywhere, moving mad, bro.
Yo,
Like that, and much more.
Yeah, man, they just got more
TikTok,
soulless.
You know
The TikTok thing got, social media
blew
got
up,
worse.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Everything just got worse, man.
Everything got
People just
worse,
got soulless creatures, man, with stupid opinions. More and more of
Yeah.
these people going on this
Podcasts.
podcast, just talking the
Saying
most
stupid
madness
Yeah,
just to get views.
like even podcasts. Yeah, for fucking OnlyFans. Like podcasts, well, they've always been around, but in the last 5 years, bro, just
Yeah, it's a competition of who can say the most outrageous
outlandish
shit.
shit. It says, from the sole of the foot even unto the hand, there's no soundness in it, but just wounds and bruises and putrefying sores.
That's it.
Yeah.
That you look about our people, man, and that's why you need the prophets, man, because across the board, from top to bottom, it's all madness. At every layer of our people, even the man them that's supposed to be on the highest level of nobility, which let's just keep it honest, it's the entertainers.
Yeah.
They're the men that are supposed to have the most money and the most prestige. They're fucked. Their lives are fucked on by design. They're not a good example for anyone. The whole point of having nobles is they're supposed to be an example that people can follow and aspire to be. But the last thing you want to do is aspire to be like any of these celebrities, man, because their life's fucked. You copy them, you copy in destruction, because you're gonna get even worse results because you're broke.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's true.
We don't have no nobility where that's holding it down really like that.
Poor man's wisdom is despised. Yeah. You know, the rich sitting high.
That's why we're getting the 144,000 the Lord's gonna raise up 140, the new nobility, man.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right now, our
A
people
reset.
from the
Right.
top politician Jakes
Yeah.
on down, man, are just demons,
It's
man.
true.
And wherever you are, let's go Nigeria, bro. Them
Oh, yeah,
politicians and all them,
bro.
man, are demons, man.
They're demons, bro. Like straight
Of
up,
the
like,
highest.
straight up child sacrifices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of these like street girls, back
Disappearing.
basically they just get taken and just
Sacrifice.
sacrificed.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
You know what I mean? 'Cause, you know what I mean? It's like they're on the street trying to make £10 a day because they're basically like slavery. And then just like a guy, rich guy, politician, goes on the road, gets one, and they don't come back. They just get sacrificed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wicked. That's what
everything
puts up
what
on the top down.
From the top down.
Then you gotta deal with these man that's on the bottom, man. They'll cut your throat,
They'll
cut your
cut
heart
your
out
throat
as well.
too. They'll cut your throat too, man. They can't wait to cut your throat.
Pressure on pressure on the
Yeah.
It's mad.
It says bruises putrefying sores. So it's like bro, it can't be fixed, man. It just stay open.
It's getting worse
It's just getting worse.
with each generation.
It just
each
gets
generation.
worse, man. You know? It says they have not been closed, neither bound up, neither modified with ointment. So
Right. And you know what that shows? Because each generation has thought, yeah, that
They break the
They found a
cycle.
new code.
They can
yeah,
break the
thing, yeah,
cycle.
because when you look at it, like look at my generation, yeah,
Yeah.
like we were kind of bad, but now I'm looking at this new generation, and they're like, yo, these men are on a different level, yeah. But there's never been a solution to stop the decay.
It's true.
It's just man looking at it getting worse, yeah,
Getting
but
worse.
it's just getting worse. There's no solution there. Like it just keeps getting, and the next generation will say the same thing. Oh, these man here, it's just getting worse and worse and worse, man. Putrefying, it's dying, it's decaying.
That's why we need saving.
And that's why we got this ministry, because this ministry is really reversing it, but not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's really reversing it only for the elect, man, to build them up till they can be delivered.
Yeah. It says, how shall a man cleanse his way? Like taking heed to that word. So,
And which was always the solution, really,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back to the scriptures, man. But Jake think these podcasts and talking is the
Bro,
solution, and they
like-
just keep talking garbage, man.
just chatting, bro.
It's young Sway and them, man.
Oh,
That's who's
Spray.
raising us. Spray, yeah,
Spreading social experiment.
yeah, Spray.
Like just give a mic to a nigga.
Yeah, bro.
Niggas should never had a platform.
Yeah, bro. To be honest, sometimes I'm astounded. He's funny though. So, well,
Yeah,
like,
it's funny as well.
I'm
And that's
like,
what it
this
is.
guy
You're being entertained
entertained
by your own cultural destruction.
Yeah.
So this guy's insane.
Like even I'm surprised that dude, like a Common Sense show, what's his name back in the day, Spray. He's talking about like that means your dad's black, your mom's white.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that clip made that. But I'm like, who the hell's watching this?
Controversial, isn't it?
Controversial, isn't it?
Yeah, he was being dumb.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You all know. But anyway, going on. Yeah, but on the islands, man, we gotta understand on the islands, most people are so-called
So-called
mixed.
mixed.
Even if you like you look at an island like Dominica,
Yeah.
a lot of the Benjamites in Dominica are mixed with Caribs. They got coolie hair. Like in my on my mom's side, he had coolie hair. Because on the islands, Benjamin was intermingling with the Caribs and that, so you had certain features that would get mixed up in there too.
Yeah.
My granddad, my granddad's dad had that coolie hair because he was from Dominica. A lot of them Dominicans are like that. They got the Carib in it.
The Caribs and the Tainos, they were, the 10 tribes that was in the
They were
South America,
originally
right?
there.
Going up to these islands, man, before typical Caribbean went there or moved there.
So what is black really then?
Exactly.
Yeah, what is black? Because my great granddad had that coolie hair, but he was known as Black Richard. So what? He literally, that was his name, Black Richard. So what are you gonna say? He's not black? It's dumb. Like that's why that whole thing needs to be thrown out, man.
Like a white paradise.
It's just stupid. Like, so if I go back in Sway's history and one of his great grandmothers is white, is he not black? Like, what does that even mean?
What is that even like?
This is what we do with nations, man. We do with nations of people.
Nation.
That's
And
what we,
fathers,
that's what we'll
fathers.
tell you. You're an Israelite, according to this or that, But all this nonsense that we be given today, man, it's not an identity.
And
It's not an identity, man.
furthermore, how far back is like the scattering goes far back.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like I'm not sure if you met that brother. The brother that helped brothers move. You know the brother that
Oh,
helped.
the one, yeah.
Portray met. I'm not sure if you met him. You met him,
I've not met.
but he's darker than me. He's
Oh.
darker than me. Yeah? I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Bro. You know what I mean. I'm black.
That's dark.
You know what I mean. Darker than
That's
me.
real.
Yeah?
That's real
But
dark.
guess what? On his father's side, obviously it's Jake. His father's side, like by line, his I believe his great grandfather, one of them, and then line was a white Scottish pastor, like on one of the plantations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's darker than me.
Yeah, so that's what he's not
So
black.
what does that mean?
The Sway would meet him and say he's black.
Oh, he's black, brother. I know that, but he's darker than me.
So it's all bullshit.
And it's like it's the same story. Like even us now, me, I'm so cool, I'm dark skin, but you know what I mean. My ancestor in Greece could have, you know what I mean. Could have been anything. It's like it cycles back.
This is
Yeah,
why
yeah,
this is why it's all about the
It's
seed,
back-
though.
it's back
Yeah,
to
it's all
seed.
about the
It's all about the seed, man,
about
and
the
the spirit. You know, we can't go by looks alone, man,
Can't go
because
by looks
so much
alone.
time's passed.
Yeah,
So much time's passed, man, and we've been everywhere.
Yeah, so if your mom's so-called white, man, that don't mean nothing.
That don't mean nothing.
Never met anything.
Look at Cole Palmer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He's one of us, but he
Yeah.
looks like like one of theirs, isn't it?
Ross Barkley, Smith Rowe.
Shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, even Emil Smith Rowe. His father's a defensive line.
Yeah, there you go.
This is 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the latter days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. And it's those characteristics.
Yeah.
Those characteristics.
That's it.
It's just our life
Yeah.
out here in this world, man.
Yeah, man. Disobedient to parents. Got no respect for their parents, man. And people don't even know what real respect for parents is, man.
Yeah.
Like this brother would tell you, like I know it's probably changing in Ghana right now, but the original level of respect you have for your parents is like they're your master.
Yeah.
You have to bow down and prostrate
For real.
before them.
Yeah, still do.
And but that's biblical because
Yeah.
the scripture says you're supposed to
Bow-
endear
bow down head.
to your mother and your father as if they're your masters.
Yeah.
That's in the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's this whole thing of it's this weirdo thing that people don't. And I see it because the level of respect I have for my parents, my kids ain't got for me.
Yeah.
I tell them all the time, like, but it's because we're in a different world now. I
Different
can't do everything the way my parents used to do it. But there were certain things that I grew up with. Even now, I have that level of respect. Like when I get around all my uncles and that,
Yeah.
even though I'm a big man now, there's a level to
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
will talk with them
Yeah.
because they're like big man to me. You get me? And I'm a big man myself, but I still got that like, should I even enter into the conversation
like-
type thing?
It's like bust that joke. You know,
Yeah.
because it's not me. You know,
You have some
you're
kind
not
of
scared,
respect.
brother.
But these youths nowadays, more and more, the youth have no respect
No
whatsoever
respect, bro.
for their parents or anyone older than them. They think they could do what they want, say what
Yeah.
they want,
Yeah.
and they'll even come and tell you something like, "Oh, I'm entitled to my opinion,"
Yeah.
and all this shit. Like, what are you fucking talking about, man?
No, even the other day, like there was a nigga video that went viral. It was like one of these young Jake that was they tried to prank one, like a Jake uncle bus driver train driver coming back from work. He was just wasn't having it. Like, bro, if you read that, I'll bang it. And he's beating up an uncle, bro. Like a
Disrespect.
like a forklift driver and a warehouse uncle. You know the ones that your uncle just getting beat up.
Bro,
man.
these youths,
I've
you
never
gotta be
seen
careful with these youths now, because these youths will fucking fight you
it.
now.
Pull out zombie.
Yeah, these youths are mad. We used to be like, even when I was younger, right? If you was walking down a pathway and a big man was walking, every man would just move out of the way. Now, these youths are feisty. Even the girls, they're feisty. Like, they'll be walking a group here and expect you to go in the road and shit.
Skating.
Like,
They'll be roller skating.
bro,
Fucking
these youths nowadays, bro, I'm telling you, they be feisty as hell, man. It's insane.
I remember I was driving home, right, and there was some white youths in the back of the bus, and like they were filming some shit. Oh no, man! But what they doing in the back of the bus is like this. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with?
Bro,
You know what I mean?
Degenerate.
Yeah, man.
Man.
I was like, you're lucky on this bus.
Yeah.
You're on that bus.
Yeah, boy,
Yeah.
it's
I would
crazy.
have turned into what's a pro in that movie, man. He follows that woman because he beats her.
Oh yeah.
Unhinged. or whatever it is.
Unhinged, bro.
Yeah, man, he's lucky I'm not.
Yeah, like these kids don't have no
You
idea what respect is for your parents, man. Some other cultures still have that
Yeah.
thing, but in the West, people don't really know what it is to respect
Yeah.
a parent, and even the parents don't know how a child really supposed to respect you.
Supposed to be.
They think it's like
Yeah.
they don't understand. A child's really supposed to do what you say at all times. It's a
Self-parent,
dictatorship, man. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
But they let shit go, and the child is like almost like his own entity
Yeah.
with rights.
And the scripture says, foolishness is
Bound in the heart of a child, man.
and the child left his own will.
Yeah, there's no way to
Yeah, I'm
correct
saying.
that, bro. You know what I mean?
Nah, man, these youths here are
Unruly.
sentient, blood. They're moving like Skynet, blood. They're just out here doing their own thing.
Crashing out.
Well, products of the Esau system, man.
Yeah.
They're just going on mad.
No, I like the old school thing. Like the
Yeah.
youths have to bow down and have to do certain
Principle,
things and have
yeah.
to serve,
Yeah.
be servants. A lot of these youths don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
They literally just eat, sleep, and shit, and get gifts.
Yeah.
They don't even have to do chores.
Yeah.
They don't. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to do nothing.
Bro,
You know
what I'm saying?
You know what people will do though? They'll focus on the element you just spoke about, yeah. Like, oh, because we want to be worshipped and all that kind of stuff. But don't forget, we also then have to do the same.
You're gonna have to do the same.
You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about order, 'cause it's order. It's order at the end of the day. It's order, right? And women will complain about being under the man and all that kind of stuff.
Bro.
But we all have to serve somebody.
But that's
You
how
see
you
what I'm
get take. Listen, I'm tell you this, yeah.
Respect.
You see my dad's generation. One thing I know about them, they took care of the old people. Like
Oh,
where I was from, old people were taken care of.
Yeah.
They never like died like wanting someone to help them or
by
nothing.
themselves,
Yeah. Let me tell you this straight. If this kingdom was to carry on, yeah, God forbid, my generation got old, no
Cool.
one, these kids won't have no care about you in the
Yeah,
world
yeah.
because they're not used to doing anything for you.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a whole generation of kids that don't believe in serving their parents. Bro. They just believe in working to get money for themselves
Yeah, yeah.
to live their best
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Like where I see the difference in attitude, like my dad's generation and above, they took care of the old people, man. Because they grew up serving and didn't mind. They had to do
Exactly.
chore, go out and feed the goats and
Yeah,
go this in the morning. So they're used to doing
Yeah.
things.
Well, I'm sure you experienced it back home, especially when school days are done. It's almost unheard of to be sleep past 9, like on a
Oh.
weekend. Like
Yeah.
it's like if you're in bed past 9,
Nah, you have to
it's
get
like-
up and help and do work.
you have to either sweep the
Nah,
compound.
these youths don't do nothing no
You've
more.
gotta
They
do
don't
something,
even
innit,
they don't
bro?
even make them clean their rooms
Yeah.
nowadays. And that's why these youths are just out of control. There's no discipline. They're not
No
paying the
discipline.
dues.
They're not paying. Yeah, they're not paying the dues.
They're living like 3-year-olds until they're 18.
Exactly.
Obviously, if you got a 3-year-old, they ain't gonna do nothing. But once you get to a certain age, you're supposed to be doing shit in the house, man.
Yeah. Of principle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It says, incontinence, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
Yeah, that's it. The only thing that matters is the dopamine hits, man.
Dopamine.
That's man I want to living for. People are living for dopamine now.
That's ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. Dopamine, and whether it's through likes, cause likes on the internet gives you
Validation.
dopamine, validation, drugs, sex. Like sex is completely out of control.
Yeah.
You know, there's no value
Bro,
to sex
like,
anymore.
there's so many things that happen in life that it's not supposed to exist like in a normal way of living. Like, why has a person in Barcelona got like have a streaming capability? Someone in fucking Congo, and then it's like people's minds and their eyes get big, and then you just start to drink that wine from other cultures. You know what I mean? It's like here is you're on a farm, you know, with your own family farming the land now, thinking about
Las
what this
Vegas.
person's doing in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's not, you know what I mean?
You ain't with no shit.
You know, you're supposed to know that.
Yeah. Oh, but you're right. A lot
I
of
mean?
things it's too in your face, and a lot of it's fake, and it's getting worse because let's be honest now, like the reality of life, let's be in the UK is more than the average person is struggling and suffering.
Yeah.
On more like but social media trying to highlight like, oh, this guy's doing this guy doing that. So you kind of almost think like everyone's doing well but you, based upon social media, not based upon real life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I have to, even my woman, I have to tell her sometimes, listen, man, bro, like, fucking chill, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people are fucked. The very few people you see that's actually doing it for real are exactly that. Very few people. And it seems like it's more than it is. But in actual fact, even though we're messed up, there's way more people worse off than us. But you don't focus on that on social media. What's focused on is the people that are faking it to make it or who are actually doing better. And it gives you a false sense of the reality. Because them bread lines is getting bigger and bigger out here.
Yeah.
Bread
You seen
lines
it,
all
they're getting-
over London,
they be getting-
multiple.
they be getting longer.
Used to be in the borough, there'd be one bread line. Now there's even just in
Whole
parking.
block,
I think there's like 4 different places that are handing out bread and food for people, man. Now, thank the Lord, I ain't really got to do that. But that ain't all over social media, though.
Yeah.
What's over social media is man flying to Dubai, faking it to make it.
Faking
Which
it
a
to
lot of
make
them, man, are not really even living the lifestyle that they're faking on the internet.
Exactly.
So that internet messed up a lot of people. They got a lot of people seeing things that they shouldn't
That's
see.
just not
A
real.
lot of men are seeing gal they shouldn't see.
That's it.
No, hey, the baddies ain't for everyone, man.
Yeah.
The baddies ain't for everyone, man. But enough man.
Especially when the body's got high,
Hey, but if you're sitting there all day looking at like enhanced women online, yeah, then you're gonna feel upset about your life, innit?
That's
You start looking at your woman like, man,
But
fuck
this
this.
is again, this is why it's why it's about not being covetous, not being envious.
Your eyes are too big.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it leads you down a place you shouldn't be going to.
bro.
You sit there looking at your woman's side, you
Bitch.
ugly, man. And she ain't even ugly,
ain't even
man.
ugly.
But it's just that you just seeing the best of the best online just constantly. You know what I mean? Your eyes are too big, man. Normally you wouldn't see them bitches. Them bitches would be with richer niggas.
Exactly.
You might see them now and again driving past. But now you could just beam that shit into your
Leave
forehead.
it for like 19 hours straight, right into your fucking pineal, like just absorbing everything, right?
Yeah,
That screen burn.
now you
Screen
feel,
burn,
now
like-
you feel inadequate. And it goes the same way with women. If you're beaming nothing but lifestyle into
Yeah,
your
yeah,
eyeballs, then your whole life feels inadequate.
Yeah.
Your whole life, because
Yeah,
it's like, look at what you're watching all day. But if you didn't see all that shit all the time, you'd just be content with what you have.
That's it.
Because you'll be seeing what, is in your,
Yeah, that's it.
now you're just looking at, oh, this person bought this person bought, what the
Bro,
fuck?
like the earth, like it's something I always say, the earth is big. Like there's places you can go, whether you're in Tanzania, you're back home in Caribbean or wherever you are, where there's just a chick from a village. They just sell plantain on the side of the road, but she's bad.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Yeah, it's true.
And
It's
she's
true.
just there.
It's true.
Like not everyone has to be in Vegas or
Yeah.
Atlanta with fucking 9-inch fucking islands.
just
whatever,
chill,
man. Chill, man.
With everything, like
Right.
back, breast,
Breast
butt,
and
everything, like.
like eight ribs taken out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. The
It's
world
done,
has got the
man.
world has gone crazy, man. There's
the
too
world's
much,
too much,
too much
bro.
information, too much, and it all feeds covetousness.
Yeah,
That's what social media does. It feeds envy and covetousness because people are not really like to watch people that's worse off than them. They're always watching people better off, man. And the algorithm just throws it in your face.
It's true.
They come off that algorithm and just
Yeah,
go
like-
to the park, man.
Yeah, like dudes feeling fucking. Oh man, I got to do this surgery, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Getting fucking lineups and shit.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. Bad.
I read this quick.
Yeah, it goes.
It's Jeremiah 22, verse 17 says, "But thine eyes and thine heart are not but for thy covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood and oppression, and for violence to do it."
Yeah, man. All that covetousness, now you out here doing the most because you're trying to catch up with some bullshit, man. Just live your life, be content, man, and wait on the Lord, man. That's what you should do. Social media destroy, especially Instagram. I don't know anyone on it like that. That shit will destroy you, especially with gal. Goodness gracious, man.
Yeah. But like you've seen
Too much.
shit.
It's too much.
Too much, bro.
And the Bible said a man loveth nothing better. So that shit's designed. You're hardwired, blood, to fucking enjoy watching that shit.
YouTube's bad enough, man.
Oh, the YouTube
I-
shorts, man. Shit, have you distracted all day.
You know, I'm teaching yoga.
That's why you know that shorts and TikTok. TikTok to me is scary. That's like the ultimate social media app. Because you can just scroll for it. You can scroll
For
forever.
eternity, blood.
You can actually scroll. It just shows you random people live. If you're a bitch at home, it's like midday,
With the nipples in.
nipples out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy, bro.
Going up. We'll close up in a minute.
It says, yeah, it says without actually I read, yeah. So back to verse 5 in 2 Timothy 3, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. You know, so all them characteristics that was explained in scripture, these are things we have to avoid, man. You know what I mean? You know? And so that's why ultimately, man, this earth has to be changed, man. Like a new heaven, new earth, like a new mindset.
Everything about it needs to be
It's
changed.
just a lot, bro.
It's everything in its place is dying, and
And that's why
decaying.
all these things are going to be dissolved.
Yeah, it has to
Because really and truly, everything is working against us.
Yeah,
In this society, every
Everything.
system and everything that's built around us is actually
Everything.
working against us. The only thing that's working for us
it's the spirit.
is the spirit, it's this
Prophecy.
truth and
Yeah,
prophecy.
yeah.
But part of that working for us in the spirit is all this stuff is going to be destroyed, and then we're going to have a new kingdom that's built upon the spirit, built upon righteousness, that's going to be profitable, man, for life to enjoy. You know,
And order is going to be restored.
righteous order,
Yeah.
The law.
as it should be. You know, because all this stuff that they've done is just messed the earth up, man. You're sitting there on the internet now, and everything's confusion. Everything's confusion. Everything's going around in cycles of fuckery. Y'all want to be independent, then they get fucked up. Now they don't want to be independent, and it's just like, oh, this is just. Why didn't we just keep it the way it was meant to be from the? But it's because of Esau and the bullshit, and it just causes things to go round and round, and we're fighting basically like a dog chasing his tail. All this confusion over things that shouldn't really be an argument. It's just known. But now we
Man,
have to sit here arguing over things that is tried and tested for generations, man. We just stick to what's tried and tested and work instead of having a stupid debate about gender roles, man. What the hell are we doing
Yeah,
here, man?
like it's like even if you mention, I like a woman feminine or a woman cook, it's like, oh, but it's a gender role. Like, or why is this a conversation?
This is you know, when I was growing up, it's such a weird world
It's a
because
weird
where
world.
I'm coming from, that was just how it was.
Yeah.
And gal never had a problem with it. I never met a woman in my life when I was in Montserrat that said, "Oh, I don't want to cook no more." Man, the gal loved to cook. People like my grandmother, bro. Even now she cooks, and I don't want her to
It's
cook.
because they've been told not to cook.
Bro, I don't want her to cook, bro. If you give her some, if I turn up with some shit there,
Yeah.
she would just start cooking up. They love nothing more
Yeah.
than cooking up a good meal, bro.
Because guess what? That's what they was
That's what,
chosen to do.
yeah,
That
that's
was
what
they
they
were
do.
designed to do.
In the West,
and it
we're
feels
told
the
that
majority.
you should be cooking, you don't need to cook. It could be something else.
And the man them all work, so they build
Yeah.
build shit, and
They
they
build
don't
shit.
they never complain. They
They
love,
never
man.
complain.
These men love to do some them old school West Indian man, bro. They love to make some shit.
They'll fucking find something to do. They'll find something to
The
do.
bust sweat, blood. They
Yeah.
love, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man, put the pencil in the air.
Yeah.
What the hell? And it worked, man.
It works,
It works, bro.
It works.
It wasn't a problem. Like then you just see Esau come with all this confusion, and now man are fighting in a podcast.
Yeah. Fighting on podcasts. She's 35, no youth, feeling like
Come
shit.
on the
Bitch, you're
podcast,
supposed
no
to have
clothes.
a kid like 10 years earlier.
Fighting on podcasts, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And you just like, this is bullshit, man. That's why it's all got to be destroyed. And let's go back to the
right way.
necessity of life, because these girls, you know,
Imagine that. Like, I'm just thinking about if you go on their playlist, they probably got like 90 videos of men and this. But
yeah,
Rage.
it's rage, baby.
bro, bro, we weren't designed to be fighting each other over
For real.
bullshit.
Over nothing.
What is man and woman actually fighting over? Like,
When you really sit down,
when you really break it down, like, it's just all
gender
just
roles,
triggered. Fuck, the gender war is one of the most tiring
it's
things
tiring.
that's
And it's fake,
consuming people's mindsets. Yeah, just get a gal and go walk in the park together,
bro.
man.
That's it, bro.
And naturally, gal don't want no pussy, old man.
Yeah,
And man don't need, women don't want to be hard.
yeah. It's real,
They just,
bro.
they just want to chill.
I've seen the most men bitches are like men this, men that. When they get a man, all the gender role shit goes out the window.
bro. Like,
Because
it's not real. Most
so
of
now
that
you
stuff is on the internet.
Yeah, and
It's,
people,
it's 100% people on the internet
Yeah.
arguing for things they don't even really believe
Yeah.
because they don't do it in practice.
exactly.
It's just contradictory because it's fashionable to say
Well,
and pretend,
I think so.
like, and then it's just like, why are we arguing here? It's
Yeah.
not an argument.
on argument.
Like, we all know how it goes. Listen, if I got beef, I don't call my sister. This is a known thing.
Innit?
It's a known thing, but if I need other help, I'll call my sister. Like, that's
Yeah,
how it is,
man.
bro.
Like, yo, sis,
When
I
my
wanna
sister
fight-
need, when my sister needed
Saying-
her flipping bed, when it needed to be carried, delivered, and put together, what I do know is she didn't call her other sisters. She called me. Why? Because I got the guns, bro. I know how to do shit, bro.
Yeah,
It's just common
Yeah,
sense,
that's
bro.
it.
Why are we arguing over
That's
this
it.
stuff? And I didn't go, well, why are you calling me to lift all
Yeah,
this heavy
nah.
shit? I just knew, like, yeah, because of course.
yeah.
Then when I need something that I need for a woman, I call my sister
yeah.
and she'll do it, bro.
It's funny, man. I remember, like, I used to talk to an Eve, which this guy's the most social justice bitch Eve ever. Like, feminism, all to that. I didn't speak to her for a while. One day I get a call about a show. You know, I said, hold on, I thought you were just trying to be an independent woman that don't mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
because the
women.
reality, how the world works, man, it's just natural, man.
it's lonely.
You know what I mean? But the internet, that's why sometimes I just clock out, man. I ain't got time to watch a podcast with some random brand and woman fighting over gender roles.
Yeah.
Bro, I see people walking down the street every day and they don't have a problem. You know what I mean? So why are these people on the internet just constantly arguing over bullshit,
Yeah,
man?
why can't they make it work?
Well,
It's chill, man.
Well, it's that wine, and it's that.
Yeah.
It's really them enchantments from Esau
Yeah,
because
because spell.
it's a spell. Because if you break up a home, then break up a family,
Yeah.
you break up a town, a community, a nation.
It's toxic as
It just
hell, man.
splits people. You know what I
Make them
mean?
weak.
Makes them weak.
Hey, in the kingdom, man, we're not gonna have to be arguing. You don't have to fight with your woman, or your woman's not gonna be fighting with you. Don't be fighting with your children. Everything's gonna slot into place. It's called harmony, like a symphony,
Yeah, symphony.
and everything will work, man. And you'll see that's just life. It's just better that way. When everyone fits together and does what they're meant to be doing, it's functional. And they believe it or not, there's places on the earth where people live more like that, and
Yeah.
it's fine.
Fine.
They don't have no problems, man. It's just here. They like chaos, and that's what they've done. They've caused chaos, man. Toxic chaos. Andrew Tate versus some other feminist bitch, and fucking whores, everyone's arguing, and it's just, you know what I'm saying? And this person's a brokey,
Yeah.
and it's like, bro, come on,
Some nothing arguments.
what are we arguing about? Seriously, she. Hey, listen, man, but I grew up. Listen, I take the girl out to the dinner.
That's
I
it.
pay for the meal.
That's it.
Oh, you're a simp, bro. Whatever, man. I grew up that man spend their money and do the thing, but then you get something back from that, blood.
I pay in the front and I get in the back. That's it.
That's how it is, man. And it works. It works,
That's it.
man. Do you know what I'm saying? When I need
That
some shit
cheeky
done,
investment.
bro, like in my yard, right? One thing I noticed about women, yeah, and my mom's the same. My auntie's like, if it was up to the men, nothing would ever change.
Yeah.
You know how many times in my yard, yeah, like I get so angry because she wants to change shit, yeah. But it always freshens shit up, and it's always better afterwards. Like,
and it's so minute. You're like, why? But after it's done, you're like,
but if it's a dude, you listen, a dude's house, if you go to his house today and you come back in 10 years, nothing will ever be
Change.
moved, nothing will change.
yeah,
But a woman will change things, but that's a good thing. You need that change
Yeah.
a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You need to know, but this is just what gender roles are
Innit?
for. Just embrace it,
yeah. The only thing that changed for us is like PS5 or
man.
something.
Extra gadget. That's
Extra,
what,
like, new TV, like,
then, bro, sometimes I'll
90s
come
TV.
home, yeah, and I'll be like, what the fuck? I'll go to put something on the table, and the table's now moved over there, like, and then I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, but it is what it is, man.
doing their job.
It's you doing her job.
Doing their job.
Can't be mad at it. All right, anything else? We close up. Yeah, man, this bullshit,
You know
is
what?
bullshit kingdom, man.
Let me end with Revelation 21. You know,
That's funny because we kept referencing back to everyone today.
that's the spirit. All right, this is Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. The first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men." Yes, so that's what this earth being what refreshed, man, renewed, and those that are of his elect coming down out of them ships to like establish authority upon the earth.
The Lord's gonna be
Establish
with us.
judgment.
They said the tabernacle is with men. So the Lord's actually going to be dwelling with us in the spirit, man, which is what we need. Because when you ain't got the Lord with you in the spirit, that's how you get the ghetto.
Hey, well, except the Lord build a house, the
Right.
labor in vain. So this new earth, this new house, is going to be built by the Most High's men.
And it's going to be peace.
It's going to be peace,
We're going to actually enjoy
righteousness,
life, man.
virtue.
No chaos,
You know
man.
what I
All
mean?
right now is toxicity and chaos. That's what surrounds us, man.
Yeah,
And fake dopamine escapism.
yeah.
Escapism, man. That's what rules people's lives. Most people now are just addicted to escapism, whether it's gaming or drugs or alcohol or sex. Everything is every vice they have is ready to escape the sad reality of life. Whereas these things were not meant to be escapism.
Yeah,
They were just meant to be another part of life
yeah.
that you can enjoy, man.
Yeah.
But now you're abusing yourself with these things
Cool.
because it's a form of escapism.
Which is all sort of rooted in fucking Esau.
Yeah.
Because Esau has destroyed the world.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to escape something. Scripture says when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn, man.
They destroyed the minds of the people, poisoning people's minds. Now, really, we live in a society where more and more, what you'll end up happening is men and women don't actually interact with each other at all.
Yeah,
Because through a lot of the manosphere is like away from there being any union or any redeemable qualities about women, period. And then the women already think that anyway. That's what feminism does. So now it's like it's driving towards a situation where people are like, well, men and women not together. But what the Bible says, the man and the woman, we're always going to be together. So Esau's created a situation where he separated man and woman. There's like a divide of conflict where man can't live together.
Yeah.
Even though men have been living together for 6,000 years, like right there now, you can't even operate together. You have to get a robot now to get some peace. You have to get a robot gal. They got to get a robot man or some shit.
Yeah, for real.
This is crazy. This is insane.
Yeah. Esau's just anti-life, man.
He
He's
just fucked
anti-life,
everything up,
man.
man.
Like, come on, like, bro. There's actually,
You put 5 men or 5 women in a room together to have a conversation, and it turns into back chat, lad. It just turns into some
well,
arguing.
guess what? There's actually a poem called Back
Yeah,
Chat.
back chat. Yeah,
Niggas, yeah, that's it. There's
it's
all
just
that.
start fucking wiring.
Like, warring, we flying. You know what I mean? Dudes getting emotional. It's like, it's horrible, man. Fuck Esau, man.
This is insane, man.
And it says, and he will dwell with them and they shall be people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. And the Lord shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
Yeah, all this bullshit that we've been talking about is gonna be passed away, man. All the pain and anguish.
Yeah.
And everyone, we didn't gotta explain it to you because if you're an Israelite, you know it.
Yeah, like just
You know, you know how many of my cousins jail or
jail.
some shit, or you know, you got a girl cousin and she just fucked her life up,
Yeah.
dealing with waste, man,
Yeah.
single mother down. You're like, why did you deal with that guy
yeah,
for?
bro.
Just do madness, man.
Yeah.
And everything's just a fucked up story, man.
Fucked up story, bro.
Nah,
Like
you
some
know?
of the stories you hear in your family, like,
You're like,
Bruh.
what?
look, I got a cousin doing that. Like even I speak to one of my girl cousins, right? And then she was talking about a cousin of ours that like I didn't pay attention to. She said, yeah, they she left her home and they found her like in a container trying to get into Saudi Arabia and some shit.
You know,
I'm like, bitch, how
what
can
kind
you
of
know
madness is going on, man?
like
Yeah,
just losing her mind with this shit,
it's just all,
you know?
and then you just listen to your parents'
Your
stories,
parents
man.
talk.
Sometimes, bro, I sat down with my granddad one day and he told me about his life, yeah, and I was like, damn, shit was hard. Like his dad, he never knew his dad really, and his mom died when he was young. Then he had, you know how on the islands, bro, it's not a good thing. There's a saying on the islands that motherless children meet up. Bro, when you ain't got a mother, bro, that's the worst, because no one cares. Period. Like no one. Like so you just end up being put into slavery, and that's what happened to him. He got put into slavery by his aunt and uncle.
So they do.
No school. Their kids can go to school,
That's
but
what they
yours
do.
don't. They'll put you in slavery.
Seen
because
that-
you're like a burden to them. So, bro,
seen that story so many times. Bro.
yeah, man. And in the end, he had to escape and then live in a hut with no toilet and nothing that some brer let him live in. Some outhouses, you know what I mean? Still working on the farm and then end up working on the boats. And I'm like, raw, like, man had a mad life, bro.
See, and men, hard men like that will come to this country and a cunt will be rude to them. You see, that's why I hate this kingdom. A fucking fat
Some little prick here.
bacon eating cunt at work. And all that shit.
Oh, bro.
That's why the kingdom just people
Bro,
get zapped, man.
there's some real hardship Jacob's had to go
Hardship,
through.
bro.
Like, if you think you've been through it,
Bro.
I know that what I've been through ain't nothing
Yeah.
compared to like
Man,
the Jake that's been through it, man. You know?
man. I remember one time I was talking with my mum. She said when she first came to England, her like first job was being a carer to like Jews, innit? You know these brats. And she was like, son, them people are mean. She said sometimes they'll purposely shit on themselves, and she would have to like
Oh, man.
change them,
That's hell.
or like they'll like cook for the whole. Like she's been there 12 hours, cook for the whole family and not give her a spoonful.
That's crazy.
Like son, they're mean. You know,
It's hell. But that's the part of the hell we've endured, man.
That's
We've all been catching hell. Because if you're an Israelite, to it, you're gonna be catching hell because you're under the curses. You know, that's what we all share. In one way or another, we're all catching them curses, man. And then through the Lord, them curses is gonna come to an end, man. And we're gonna all be blessed and live together in love and peace and righteousness, which is what it's all about, man. But for now, you know, we gotta go on Twitter and watch these motherfuckers crash out, man, on each other. All right, so that's it. That's it. All right, so with that, we're gonna close up. We call halal Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways. So,